Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Goodest cast. And on this episode, we got one of the people who you've been asking for since the beginning of the Goodest cast 5 years ago. And guess what? This is the 5-year anniversary of the podcast. Chelsea Denofa. He's one of the OGs of BMW drifting. He's a pioneer. He's a suspension setup guru. We talk about his FD championship and what it took to take it home. We talk about why he left FD. We get into the details, and this is one of the most passionate people in drifting, and he's not afraid to speak his mind, and he definitely is not afraid to speak his mind on this podcast. Love him or hate him, drifting's lucky to have him. Chelsea Denofa, check it out. Hey, I was hoping we could get a late checkout for 202. Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. Bye.
Are you trying to be me there? Is that your impression of my voice?
No, that's just how I talk.
Okay.
I guess we just sat somewhere.
No, it's just like very timid, like, hi, go get a checkout.
I was trying to be like really nice so that they aren't like they're definitely shooting a porn in there. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, they saw us set up in here.
Yeah.
It's questionable at best.
I opened the door and the cleaning lady just looked so disgusted when she saw me and Laura like setting the light up facing the couch.
We're actually just going to talk about professional burnouts, so it's fine.
Sick. I don't know like anything about your origin story. I know that anytime I went on the BMW forums to find anything drifting related, you answered every fucking question that was on there. How did you like get into drifting so early, and like what was that like?
So yeah, basically in 2000, early 2000s, 2001, 2002, I started like finding videos of drifting on like LimeWire and like downloadable sites and all that. And I was like, yeah, this is really cool. At the time, I was racing BMX and training for the Olympics and spending tons of time learning new tricks, grinding, figuring out how to do all of that. And eventually I got into cars after watching those videos and kind of took all that attitude and put it straight towards drifting. I was like 14 or 15 the first time I like actually went drifting. And immediately I was like, this is it. And I saw the kind of future of like getting in it really early in America and, being able to, build something that was like just like BMX and skateboarding and all that. I'd seen it grown as a kid, and just loved it, enjoyed it, and kind of kept growing from that moment on.
What was the first chassis that you drifted in?
Well, my first time ever drifting, I crashed a BMW, and then my first chassis actually drifting was a Miata. It was my grandma's car, which I actually have now. It's a long story. It's cool, but I drifted that around like a parking lot, and I was like, man, this is a really good car. And then I ended up ultimately buying an S13 as my first drift car. And I had that for about 2 years. Figured out like handbrake techniques, and it was actually automatic in the beginning, so you had to pretty much handbrake everything. It wasn't because I didn't know how to drive a manual. It was just the only S chassis that was cheap and available back then, which I think I paid like $800 for it, and it had 31,000 miles on it. It was an SE slick top, and I ended up crashing it into a BFI dumpster, like one of those giant like construction dumpsters. You're getting the
I'm noticing a trend.
A lot of crashes, yeah. Well, I always just like took the attitude of like BMX and skateboarding, like you're gonna fall and crash like all the time. I didn't realize that like that really hinders you to keep driving because your body, you're like, I deal with it. If the car's broken, you got to fix it.
You're like, fuck, my ankle hurts, but I'm still gonna ride.
Right, exactly.
Like, I don't have a lower control arm now, so
yeah, right. Or a whole back of a car. The taillight was like basically underneath the roof line, like it was completely wrecked. We were at this street drift spot where like it would basically had a figure eight that dumped into a loading dock, and with first lap came in flying, rip around, and it was blind turn, and they just dropped a dumpster there, like because they were probably cleaning the roof or doing something. So I was going like 50 miles an hour, and there was no option. There probably was at the time, but I wasn't good enough. there was no option but to like spin out and smash into it backwards. And I like, moved the dumpster like 10 feet.
Oh, shit.
It was a hard hit, like 50 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour backwards into the thing, full rip.
And that like never deterred you? Like,
no. I actually drove it home that night with a flat tire because I was like, I can't afford a tow truck. I'm going to just drive it home. And I didn't, at the time, I didn't know. I didn't have any mechanical understanding really. And I was like, man, this is so bad. It's so sketchy. Well, it had broken the diff. Like the whole cover and everything was broken out of the subframe. But I was like limping this thing home like 4 miles with my friends. Like they're laughing. All of us had no idea, you know. We're like, I got home and they're like, yeah, you should just find another car. It's not fixable. I'm like, yeah, definitely. And that's it. And then that evolved into back to the Miata game. Big Miata guy.
Yeah, I was told that you like did a ton of Miata drifting like way early.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I got the Miata, which would have been 2004 or 5. Man, fuck, I'm old, dude. I just realized I've been drifting for more than half my life. Yes, I got a Miata, and that was the time where I started like really like figuring out what drifting was. Like actually paying attention to the line and going to different tracks and traveling and going places. Everything before that was pretty much, I did one D1 GP event back in like, must have been 05, early 05 maybe, in Homestead. And then, but I wasn't any good. And then that kind of like made me realize I sucked. I wasn't, because I was kind of like pretty good at street drifting. Yeah. Pretty good against the group of my friends. Like we were all like decent. And we watched videos online, like we're doing it. Yeah. Then I went to like my first event. I'm like, we are not doing it, guys. We need to tighten this shit up.
That's so fucking relatable.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, we suck. Because on video, you're like, oh, that guy's drifting that turn. You like North Course or wherever at Ebisu back in, 20 years ago, or Toge course. You're like, yeah, we do the same thing. Yeah. And now you like go there and you're like, we were not doing the same shit. We had no idea. But yeah, the Miata was like the first step of like evolving, like kind of like into what drifting kind of is today.
Did you learn suspension tuning and all that like in those early days, or was that way later?
I learned a little bit with Miatas because I did some spec racing with a good friend of mine. And I learned that like, even though those are spec, there's some things you can do, and like little tiny things made such a huge difference. And like, that was like the whole thing. Like back then we were racing for pennies and like borrowing cars and, working a month to be able to pay for tires and brake pads to go to the track for the day kind of thing. This is not drifting, but road course racing. And I like, this little alignment change or this little shock or damper change is like, oh, and I got a half second. And like, man, I didn't even feel like I drove better that lap. I was like, that's a lot. So when I really got into drifting and spending more time doing that, there was all that kind of like went right over to it. And the drifting was unlimited. So it was like, you could do so much and spend no money. Yeah. Like getting under your car and figuring things out and setting up is just time. And back then I had lots of it, at least it seemed like I did compared to now. And then, but the finances were never really great. Drifting never really paid. I worked normal jobs, but I would usually work like 6 months and then not work for 6 months and travel all over the place and, kind of sleep on couches just so I could go drifting. Because it's hard to have a regular full-time job and figure out drifting, especially back then when there was 20 events in the whole year across the entire United States.
Yeah, it's crazy now.
Now there's 20 events in a month anywhere. Like even in the same state sometimes.
It's wild.
So like we had to travel everywhere to go. And that kind of made it a thing where like you can't have a regular job.
Yeah.
Or at least I didn't think I could back then. So it was tough.
It's fucking hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a
Still
9 to 5. Yeah. Do you feel like traveling around that early on taught you how to like adapt to new tracks and like a lot of people don't ever take that step? Like what got you to the point where you're like, fuck it, like I'm gonna chase this thing?
I don't think I ever got there. I know that sounds weird. Like I did chase it, but I don't think I ever like thought that. Like I had a 9 to 5 job till like my 4th or 5th year of FD. So like when I say 9 to 5, I had a job that I reported to every time I could. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Which obviously when you have a job like that, usually it's like not the best paying job because you're kind of just someone that they have value, but you just work hours, and that's just how it is. And that's how it was for a long time. I did a lot of like, it was all about being creative and finding ways. Like drifting was my motivator to like have a good job and figure out things and like get the most of the time I was working so that I could financially figure out the rest of it. But also on the other end, it was being frugal and trying to find ways to do everything in drifting as low cost as possible and as effective as possible because of the time and the value of it and all that. But to answer your question about the traveling, I feel like it just gave me that like MacGyver mentality where it's less like I used to go to events and I'm like, if I don't win, I don't really have enough money to get home. And I don't really know how I grow in this sport without winning or doing things. So I just used to go and like treat that like you have to win or you might not be able to keep doing this. So I wouldn't say I ever like took that like full step on like knowingly, but obviously like the driving force was just how much I enjoyed and like loved drifting.
Yeah, because you have a presence at the track. You also have like an insane aggressive driving style that I guess comes from extreme sports and like that push, which I think sounds like it's been happening since the beginning. Like, how did you find the balance of like push hard but not like, fucking do 120%?
I'd never figured that out. I figured it out probably at round 6 of my last season of FD when I decided that I was going to leave. And I decided I wanted to win before I left. So I kind of toned it down enough to get that accomplishment, which is like probably like one of my biggest achievements. Like winning the championship is sick. Like from the outside, it's like, oh, you did really good. You kept it together for a whole year. You had a good car, a good team, like everything worked out. There's even some kind of like, I don't necessarily believe in luck, but there's definitely some alignment there that has to happen with everything. And I was like, it's time. I'm going to do this. And then I'm out. And like, that was like the biggest thing for me was like, on one end, I was like, I was able to do it. This is amazing. Like I got the championship by toning the driving down, figuring out the balance. But on the other end, I didn't enjoy that. So I'm like, that's why I'm out. Like
you're like, if this is how I have to drive to be a champion, then like
it's not important to me that way. It's weird. Like I've always kind of been that way. And that's why I've always been like borderline calculated recklessness everywhere because that's what it is to me. Like it's just like growing up, like skateboarding, BMXing. And I still believe drifting is that and can grow to be that, or even has in a lot of ways. You never just, I did a kickflip down this 5-stair or I ollied this 5-stair. You never just like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to go to a 6 or 7 or 8-stair, or I'm not going to tray flip this, or I'm not going to do this switch or whatever. BMX, same thing. Like, oh, I did this line. I jumped this dirt jump set. Like, I'm not just going to go and not do more tricks and go bigger and go better. Like, I think drifting at a professional level kind of lacks that. Like, and that's scary to me in the future of like how you progress it when there's like, I hate using the word complacency because I don't think anyone in drifting, a driver or a team owner or anything, is like that. But from the outside, it kind of has that look from a like championship chasing attitude.
Yeah. What do you think FD could change to be better for the drivers?
We're not going down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I love FD, and I would not be where I am at all without them. This is not like just something I'm saying as a political thing. Like, there's no way I would have the platform and things I have been able to do or been able to leave that championship series and be set up to do things in the future. But to me, like, and it's just me, obviously not they have 100 employee business that they have to take care of. There's just a lot more risk that can be happening with drifting that isn't taken. Like, I feel like you have a judge sport, you have all these dudes that are like driving hard and pushing and building crazy cars, and it's so unlimited and so everything. So like, why is it so limited, like in what it is? Why do we have 2-turn tracks? Like, why do we have these venues that we sell out every single year to the brim, like, and standing room only, and then we can't have any more people? Like, why do we, like, the sport of drifting can financially support it? Like, we have to do bigger and cooler things and grow it.
I agree.
like one way or another. Like there were events 15 years ago that were crazy and it would still be crazy again now.
Yeah,
and like
Irwindale was packed the first D1 GP. Like,
right. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
The driving's a little bit better. The cars are crazier.
Yeah.
They've built out characters in the sport. They've done a really good job of all that. But like the drifting, dude, FD is not like if someone asks me, hey, can you show me like the best drifting? I'm not showing them any competition drifting ever. Because no competition drifting outside of like 2 runs every weekend is really that good to me.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
As like a driver, and I think like a lot of people that listen to this podcast are drivers, it is hard to watch FD because like people will just be like, put me in, coach. Like,
yeah,
I swear, like
it's crazy. Like I said this a couple times throughout the year, like because I got to sit back and kind of watch drifting from the outside because I took the year and did my own thing and had fun with it and kind of built out what I believe drifting for me is and more of a freestyle approach. But like watching FD from the outside, I'm like, man, like we have the easiest looking tracks that are the hardest for no reason. I'm like, we have these cars that have all this power and all this stuff, and everybody thinks they're so easy to drive because they drive a Sim or Forza with 1,000 horsepower or whatever. And like, yeah, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we put them on a track that has 2 turns that are huge, and like, but like we have to be an inch from everything or we start losing points. And no, but like from the outside, you don't see that shit.
Yeah.
You just see this really easy track. Like FD does not do a good job, to me at least, of like showing the skill of what it is.
I agree.
Like a lot of the other series don't do the same thing, but we could take those cars and put them on a kart track and tandem and shred. Even an FD car would be crazy, but like you could. And from the outside, people watching would be like, that's harder to do than Irwindale.
Yeah, their
But
minds
you're
would
like,
be blown.
Yeah, in Irwindale, you're like, every time I go across Interclip 1 to go into the inner bank, I'm like, today might be the day I end up in a casket. Like, you know what I mean? But nobody knows that.
Yeah, unless you're there seeing it in person, like looking straight into that transition, like,
Right.
You're not getting that like same energy.
Right. So I think that's one thing you asked, like, what could be changed? That would be a big thing to me, is I think making it look more complex, because it actually is very complex, but it just looks simple.
Yeah.
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 Drifting.
So what would so you say you wouldn't show people FD? What would you show people?
I just think there's lots of, I mean, you could go online and look at videos of people driving for fun or be people running team tandem events and all that stuff. Like, I think there's planned out driving that looks way better. I know it's not competition driving, so it is a lot different, but like, to me, drifting is more about like how good it looks from the outside, the style of the actual driving, the aggression, utilizing all the zones, utilizing angle to slow down instead of like a bunch of foot brake and like things of that nature. And like, I feel like when I watch team drift stuff, it's cool because everybody's like setting their stuff up to work well together. And like, that's, to me, is an efficient thing in how you drift and the planning of it. That's how you show the best drifting. It doesn't mean that works in competition at all, because you want to win, you want to do whatever. But like, the approach to that is a similar approach to even I take with FD, the competitive drifting. I'm like, big, huge, sweepy bro lead run, because then when the judges see that and then the guy has a good chase on me, it's because I was able to do that and I didn't mess with anybody. I didn't like change anything. And then in the chase, it should look like that dude punched me before I got in the car and I'm trying to get him back, like it should be aggressive and wild and like finish the run like on doors. But it doesn't always work that way with competition drifting, and everything's on the 100% ragged edge of cars braking and so much grip that you get understeer on throttle in the middle of a turn, and the tracks are big and, like I said, kind of like don't look complex but are very complex to drive. And I think it makes it so that the end of everything and the visual of it just is off to me. It's just not as good looking. So
yeah, Ryan Cotto always said you never played games when.
Oh, sweet, thanks.
Yeah, he's like I like battling Chelsea. He doesn't play games.
Yeah, no, it just, to me, it's like, if I win that way, dude, I've won events where I drove the way I needed to do to win, like basically tone it down, like last year, and I won events, stepped on a podium, and I'm like, cool. Like, I didn't achieve anything today. Like, I just went through the process, you know? And like, that's something that other drivers have told me before, like, where it's like, hey, there's a process to winning. And I'm like, what? Like, to me, like, I get that. Actually, now thinking about it, you're like, duh, if you're there to win, which most people are, like, if you do the process, you do what you need to do, you watch the judges, how they judge, and you start looking at maximizing your odds to win. I'm like, I just want to drive better than the other guy and win. Like, I tell people that shit all the time in the drivers meetings. They'll get all complex and crazy. And I'm like, dude, just do better than the other guy and hope that those 3 guys think that you did better. Like, that's what this entire sport is.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Yeah. Instead, it's like convoluted with all sorts of shit.
Yeah, I feel like the political nature of something so like free spirited is kind of they're like constantly like fighting each other.
Yeah, and everybody's trying to make it, right? Because like there's very few people that really like make it in FD. Like, you're still struggling to find funding, struggling to do all this. So like those weekends are super stressful on that side. Like, 90% of the people there are a team owner, and so they're figuring out the budget, spending all the money, driving, probably taking their rig and loading and unloading and prepping the car, and in the shop they're doing that between rounds. So when they get there to do those 25 laps they're gonna do,
they're fucking smoked.
Yeah, they're smoked, and every lap is so emotionally and physically important to them.
Yeah.
So it becomes this thing where like everyone's not their best at growing the sport because they're so unknowingly like almost selfish in growing what they're trying to do. Like, I did it forever. Like, I joined RTR because I saw that and I realized, man, like I don't have this in me for this long. Like, I need help to do this.
Yeah.
So I need to find a source to be able to help me do this.
A lot of people burn out. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen it's a revolving door of just like high energy 2-3 years and then just like either, you know, in financial ruin for the rest of their lives or like,
Yeah.
you know, in a fucking mental institution.
Or both.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I'm both. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like it's a passion project always. Like, every day you wake up and like you have to self-activate yourself to want to do this. No one's gonna, like, your friends might be there to help motivate you to go drive and all that, but at a competition end of it, like, it's all self-motivation and requirement of doing that, and it becomes really tiring at times when it's not going well, for sure.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I get pretty fiery at like small fucking comps.
Yeah. It's all, I mean, whether it's a small event or a big event, it's all really the same shit. If you want to be the best you can be and you want to set up your car to be the way you want it, like, all the processes I go through to drive like a gambler event or like whatever is the same process as I go through an FD. It's just like I set the car up and build a car that has 100,000 less processes, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily worry about swapping a gearbox at the event. Like, if I break a gearbox, I'm just gonna be
Shit on a trailer.
yeah, and hang out with my friends for the rest of the day. You know, like in FD, like, that's not what you do. You pack a trailer full of 30,000 pounds of spares that at the end of the year you're like, damn, I didn't use 90% of these. That's crazy. You're like, but I had to have all of these here in case, because on the first lap, if I wad my car up, we have to thrash until we can't thrash anymore to get this car on the track, because we've been planning for 2 months every one of these events for these 3 days or 2 days. So, yeah, that's shit I don't need in my life anymore.
I get it. What was it like trying to set up the RTR Mustang to drive like with your driving style? Because you have like a very distinct way that you like to make cars move and like put them in certain angles and positions on track. I mean,
it was challenging for sure. It's all the same. It's 4 wheels, 3 pedals, and a steering wheel. I mean, like, that's what it breaks down to. But like, having a confidence and comfort in the car for me, like, takes time, like, in terms of like understanding each dynamic component of the car. And so the first year when I joined RTR, I basically like just like submitted to their entire program. I let them make the changes they thought I needed. I let them make all the calls, which is crazy because I'd never really done, like, I've always built my own stuff, set up my own cars. Not really back then, like, you didn't really like talk about setup because it didn't trickle down very much, and like you just kind of did what you needed to do. So I just let them do all their calls and all of their things so I could learn as much as I could. Even if they did a change, I didn't like it, I would just make note of it. At the end of the day, I'd be like, hey, we did this change, and like I drove like 6 laps with it like that. I don't really like it. I gave it a very good effort. Like, can we try something else, But like each time just going through that phase so that I could absorb as much as like they knew about the chassis before I kind of started making big calls. Plus, I think we could gain some trust with each other that way, which was cool. And then in the second year with RTR, I made a couple changes to the chassis, like talking with Vaughn and saying, hey, I really think this would help. Like, we've had problems with this. Do you feel that? It's like, oh, I do feel that too. He just drives around everything. Like, if he pulled up next to me in an F350 at Irwindale, I'd be like, fuck, I got to drive hard. Because he's just going to figure it out. Like, he just, like, first lap, like, you'll just watch him drive a 3 or 4 turn track, and it's like, medium, okay, pretty good, transition, and then he figured it out, and the next lap, bam, every mark, every point. And you could have 4 different tires on the car, 2 different coilovers, disconnect a sway bar in the middle of the run, and he would just figure it out, which is great, but also not great when you're trying to improve a car.
Yeah.
So, like, was definitely a thing. I was like, hey, do you feel this? Yeah, I feel this. Okay, let's make a change. And then like, oh, let's go big change. And then, oh, bring it back. All right, this is good. And now we know what this other thing does. And started going through that. And I think in year 3, he was just basically like,
do whatever
let
Chelsea
Chelsea
says.
set up the car however he wants. And then I'll drive his car and see if we like it. And then we can make changes. And having 2 people, like, being able to work on A, B setups was like super cool. Because like we would be pretty close on times and speeds and ETs and all that on the track and be filling the zones. But he would have like a much different setup than mine. And we could just look at the data and be like, oh, yours is better here. Mine is better here. Like, let's make some changes to kind of mellow it out, make it easier to drive. And then we have data at least on it, which was crazy because like having quantifiable data for all the engineering we've done in the past was like nothing because it's just me, like, I'm
like,
I
feels
just floor
good.
it at the beginning of the run and I hit the brakes at the end of the run. Like, I just like, there's a little bit different data than like what most people do. So yeah, I think by year 3, we made a lot of changes and then we kept making changes. And then Adam joined the team and he had some things that he had to work through as well as like I did. And we made more changes because of that and learned from him. And then James came in and fixed a couple of the things that we had that were like problems that we were driving around, but we had other bigger problems. But those were the biggest problems to him. So he's like, we got to fix this. And then we got better cars because of that. Because it was like somebody else now being like, no, I don't care about this other stuff. Fix this first. And we were always pushing that off, like steering pumps and other little things. Like, so he brought some more to the table with that. And I'm sure the cars have gotten even better now. And yeah, those cars are super tricky to set up. They're big, they're heavy, they have no real traction arm in the back. So the lower arm is like basically like a double A arm shaped, and then it has 3 other arms on top of that can pitch and turn the knuckle however you want. But the big thing is like all the arms are really short and they're very reactive, and it's on a big heavy car. So like everything just happens super quickly. And if you watch those cars driving and you think about how all the arms are definitely moving like multiple inches all the time to try to make grip, but they're really short. So like the geometry's just running all over the place every lap you do. And if you hit a bump on track, it steers completely different.
Damn.
And like what we have to do to make them competitive is tough. But I mean, obviously they work.
Shit works.
Yeah. It's wild. Winning a championship in one of those cars is probably the most valuable like car to win them in, because you got to work so hard for it. And like most cars, you can be 80% like focused and win. Those like 99.7. And if you're 99.6 or you're 100, you're off. Like you have to be perfect all the time. So it's definitely evolved me as a driver for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy. I had no idea they were so Well, I mean, people say it, but
Yeah, they're just different.
yeah.
They also, on the other end of it, they do a lot of stuff that other cars won't do. You know, like I constantly now I get in other cars that I drive, and I'm like, damn, that car would have been really good right here at this particular part of the track. Like, how do I make my car do that? And you're like, it just doesn't happen like that. You know, it doesn't roll over and make grip the way this car does, or it doesn't free up this way. That like when you do all those laps and you're trying to be perfect every lap, you just learn all those little things. You know.
Yeah. I saw you sent a E36 wagon to Abisu for Matsuri.
Yeah.
Was that honestly, I was like, that's the coolest shit ever. I want to fucking do that.
It's cool. I didn't actually ship it there. Somebody actually drove it there from France.
No way.
So like up through all the way across Germany, through Russia, and then put it on a boat from Russia to Japan, and then took it to the Ebisu from there. Yeah, this guy, and I bought it from them. They basically did an event there, and I was following them the whole time because I'm like, these guys are crazy.
Yeah.
They're driving like 9,000 miles, and the car was packed full of all their wheels, tires, spares, a grill, tents, like because they were just living out of this car for however a month or something. And yeah, so I was following them. I'm like, dude, if you want to sell this when you're done, like I'll buy it. Because like left-hand drive E36 in Japan, there's no better way to die ever than having that car there. Because like you go there with a right-hand drive car that you only drive once or twice a year, like the comfort takes days to get like really good and risky, and you kind of become complacent. But I was like, I need a left-hand drive car there so I could be reckless,
Yeah.
and just have shitloads of fun. And so I ended up buying it from them, and the motor that was in it was just like a 170 horsepower M52 motor. And I was like, we'll just put a JZ in it because everything is there already.
Yeah.
And then we did that, and then did a event the Matsuri last year with it. I was supposed to go there this year, but I just had too much crap going on. I didn't have time to go.
Yeah. Looked like fucking fun.
Yeah, the car's sick. I mean, it's like all my cars here, like SLR, proper BCs, like 320 horsepower, short ratio diff, M3 axles. Like we kind of built it out to just be like a bomber car for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty much my setup.
Yeah, and it's great. Like it works really good. I'd like to get a little bit more power and maybe do some like G1 GP or even like D1 lights or something in it, because I think that would be cool. But yeah, overall it was a really good car outside of just JZ problems. I think like the motor maybe had like a bad head gasket or a cracked head the first time I drove it, so we tore the motor down and like refreshed it, let all the magic out. But it was pressurizing the cooling system like every 2 laps. So the first time I was there, so I had this like massive like process every time I wanted to drive it, where I had to spend 20 minutes bleeding it, putting water in, do all that, do like 5 or 6 laps, and then come back, do the same thing like over and over again.
Yeah, that's not fun at Matsuri.
Yeah.
You just want to like rip
Just want
laps.
to shred. I know. You got to work for everything in life, though.
It's true. What was like your first moment when you realized like, I think I'm going to be a professional drifter?
I don't know. I think the way I grew with the sport, and the sport grew like at the same as I did, I don't know that ever really happened. Like I know it sounds crazy, but like I said, like I just kept doing it because I loved it and enjoyed it, and I like kept meeting new people and traveling all over the place, and basically I don't know, I just like lived it forever. And I had an FD license for like 3 or 4 years before I drove FD. I kept driving these like feeder series or like other series that were going on, because back in the day, like there were a lot of big series going on. There was like Nopi Drift, where there'd be like 8,000 people, maybe more. It was like 30,000 at the Atlanta ones. And they would be like these all over the US traveling series, just like FD, but obviously it was like a tick lower of the driving, and then also a tick lower of the budgets.
Yeah.
But a lot of the FD guys would come and drive those events too. And then we had D1 GP USA and some other things. And I just kind of just chased it. Like I had family members like, what are you going to do? Like, what's your fallback plan? I'm like, this sport is growing and I'm growing with it. Is this going to work? Like, and I never really thought like, oh, this is going to be my career or my job. It just kind of kept going like forever. I just kept doing it. And it's kind of the same thing now. Like even after FD, it's like, what are you going to do this year? Well, I have some business things I need to do. I have some partners that I work with that I love working with, and they're amazing. And like they allow me to do everything I want to do. But like I'm more on the side of like, what do my partners want to do? What are some cool ideas they have? Okay, I could get down with that. Like treating everything like, sure, like drifting is the actual like act of what's happening. But the business of it is just like, oh, I'd like to go drive that event and do this. Here's some ideas I have. We're definitely going to do these 6 events that I want to do. But like you guys wanted me to do these 2 events. You guys want me to do these 2 events. Like sick. Let's make something of those events. You know, like let's like Drift Appalachia. Let's go do that. Hey, I'm going to add a jam session to the end of it because BC's a partner. And I'm going to go stand on all the corners of this event and judge it and give coilovers away to the 2 best drivers. Like,
yes.
So like at the end of the event, everyone's turned up to 11 trying to shred like this mountain road, and everyone's getting reckless as fuck. I'm like, this is what I want to do. Like, want to make drifting like radder, you know?
Yeah, that's like a fucking like Thrasher like
skate jam. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's basically like what I've been trying to do this year and grow that a little bit, and really just like, again, going back to it, like, what am I doing? Well, I know what I'm doing, but like, what are we really doing here? Like, I just want drifting to be fun, exciting, rowdy. I want to grow it from like even a grassroots level, and hopefully some things trickle up to some other things. I want to design some new tracks and build some things that are drifting only. I want to like work with people that have the funding and want to grow drifting and also believe in it to like do cool things. And like, I think I'm best served to be able to do that for drifting, and it'll all kind of work out on my end, you know, just put in the effort, and you always find a way.
Especially when your life isn't the, you know, traveling circus of FD.
Yeah. I mean, I was doing 33 to 35 weekends a year.
Oh.
So like 8 FD weekends, well 9 really, because you always go out early for Long Beach and other things, and then like 20 weekends of demos and like 5 or 6 weekends of content shoots and other things. And like I loved it. It's all driving. We're doing some crazy shit. It's super cool, and it's all well documented. Like, and I didn't have to put a ton of effort into it. It was super fun, but like I'm kind of growing. I'm stuck growing someone else's like thing at that point. Like everybody knows that like I'm doing it and like it's me, and there's definitely my flavor to all of it. But I'm ultimately like, hey, we need you to be here this weekend, and then I would just make the most of everything at that weekend, you know, for either myself or RTR or whoever we were doing it with, and just kind of maximize it. But at least this way, I feel like I'm building like my own circle of growth for this and things I can see a future in more. And then obviously we can hopefully grow drifting to the point where, you know, even if it doesn't get any bigger, it just gets more precise on like what everything is.
Yeah.
I think drifting's a little lackluster right now, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I think there's like a little more effort, 5% more effort from like 50% of the people in drifting could be like way better and way more fun and way more, like, I wouldn't even use the term organized, but like at least like a forecast of what could happen.
I mean, you do have like a lot of foresight knowing that drifting is going to grow. I mean, like, it sounds like you saw what drifting was going to become. Like, what was your vision of what drifting would be like versus, I mean, because like FD is kind of like the X Games in a way, and then there's a ton of other series within skateboarding that are parallel to like drifting. Like, what do you want to see grow within drifting as far as like grassroots stuff? Like, what could be done that 5% better?
I think like when I started drifting and the growth of it, like we were always learning new things like nonstop, I think. And those things were big pivotal things. And I think like we're so focused on these little trivial things that it doesn't really, they're almost hurting the sport. Kind of like if you're so focused on these little things and the grip of tires and like this company's making these super sticky things, and like, because the guys over here run it, like I gotta run it. And like, I think there's like a lot of like that where it's like kind of like everyone's trying to big dick drifting. You know what I mean? Like I just don't know that that's really like an efficient way of growing it. But I would say like just it's the littlest things. Like, okay, I'm going to go to this drift event. I'm going to drive. This year, this is the first time I've ever done this. I was like, yo, here's a list of people that we all want to drive together. We never fucking drive together because events are so crazy. He's changing tires. He's fueling. He's having a great conversation, enjoying life with somebody over here. This person's watching. I'm going to start a group text and I'm going to be like, hey, I'm driving in 30 minutes.
Yeah. Get on track.
Yeah. And like, that's such a stupid, simple thing that I started doing this year. And I'm like, this is so much more fun because I actually go on track and drive with the people I want to drive with. Not that I don't drive with everybody, but like at least if I'm like, hey, we're going out in 30, or one of my other friends is like, yo, we're going to drive in 15 minutes on this track or like wherever. Like now it's like, okay, a little bit of structure. Everyone's there. We're all there for the same reasons. It just doesn't always align. That's like something that's 5% that made my drifting like 100% more fun. You know, like
honestly, that works at every level.
It works at every level, literally, even at FD. Like I started doing that my last year. I was like, hey, I would be like, so-and-so, do you want to drive together and practice? Yeah. And all we got to do is line up next to each other. It takes no real effort. Like, you know, like, or like maybe we let a person by to like get it to work. But like, dude, that made me like enjoy drifting again at a competitive level. Cause I like still got to drive my boys, you know, like.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And like, yeah, it's 5%. Like that's it. If everybody like came up with one thing like that they do, drifting would become like even better than it already is.
I think even at like a grassroots level, people are starting to feel like burnout and like they're trying to grind and turn it into something. Like I can kind of relate to that myself. And it's hard to go find that like jam session skate park moment at every event. And that's like a really good fucking way to do it.
Yeah. People don't understand the process and like the mental checklist in your mind before you can go on track. I mean, there are people that don't do that, and I'm like, I envy that, but it usually doesn't end well with them. We all have a friend that doesn't check anything, doesn't do anything, just gets in the car, even if it's like corded tires, because there's somebody on track, and it never ends well. Or maybe it does, but maybe that's the fun in it. I don't know. But yeah, for sure. Like, you know, like, oh, I'm going to go on track. Oh, so-and-so is pulling out to go on track. Okay, check my tires. Okay, they're good. Shit, I need to change them. Lost that opportunity. And you're like, damn. So then you're like, oh, I didn't check my oil. I'm going to check it real quick, like this and that. Okay, I'm getting in the car. Belts. And then you're at like a big track. So it's like belts, Hans, this, helmet, all this stuff. And then you've missed the opportunity. Like,
yeah, they're off.
Every time to align it is super hard. And it's like the effort to get to the track and do all that. If we spend 20 hours, I think, probably on our cars or planning them or ordering tires or parts or mounting things or all that per day of what we drive, that's probably a good ratio.
Yeah.
Like if I spent 20 hours figuring it out to go drive one local event for the day, I think that's probably a good ratio. I mean, for me at least. So like if we're taking that much time to prep to be there, why don't we take a little extra time while we're there? You know?
Yeah, I think it's cool to hear that even on a pro level, you really just want to drive with the boys. Like,
yeah.
I think that's...
FD became really good too because like the last year I drove there, like everyone now is like really pretty good. Like all the drivers are on like first laps. Like everybody kind of there's been like the level of consistency outside of like mechanical failures and stuff of the driving is the best it's probably ever been.
Absolutely.
So like that's good. And I liked that. And that probably bought me like 2 more years of driving FD. I was like constantly since like probably 2020, every year I was like, I don't know if I have another year in me in this. Like what do I love about this and how can I motivate myself to find, like Vaughn used to tell me this all the time. So you got to find the fun. Like there's always fun here. We have tons of opportunity. This is amazing. People like me at 15, 20, 25 years old would be like so stoked about where I was at that moment. But like it maybe wasn't going or wasn't like exactly what I thought it should be. So like don't let that bring you back. Find the fun. So I kept finding the fun and all that stuff. And one of the things that always brought me back to enjoying it was like I gotta line up with dudes I want to drive with. and they got to know I want to drive with them, and we got to do this shit, you know, because like that's the one thing when I left FD is like this year, I'm like all those dudes that I don't get to drive with them when they are their best, with their best car, their best setup, their best mental state, their best everything when they pull to leave the line. Like I'm never going to get that outside of FD. It doesn't matter where we're at. I'm going to get some really good drivers, but those dudes I'm never going to get to drive with at that level unless I drive FD.
Yeah.
So like that's the one bummer out of that for sure.
Is there any other series that you would consider doing like these days?
At this current moment, I just don't want to do any championships. I feel like the root of my like difficulty dealing with competitive drifting is in the championship aspect of it, because if it's 1, 2, 3 events of a championship, like there's a lot of effort and a lot of time that gets put into making that happen, but you're not like chasing this consistency and this like way bigger picture that is not important to me. Like I'm not saying the championship's not important, but like there are much more important things in drifting for me, at least. So like, sure, FD, maybe a round or two, that might be a thing. I don't have any plans to, but like I could see myself going back and driving a couple rounds. I think that would be more enjoyable than running a whole championship by far for me. Does that work financially and for partners and sponsors to just come in and drive a couple rounds? For me, I don't know if that works, you know? So maybe like Drift Masters, maybe I could do that too. To drive a couple rounds there. I think that would be sick. I think I'd have a lot of fun.
People would love that if you showed up.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, like at this moment, would love to go drive 1 or 2 rounds of Drift Masters. And I tried to drive it last year. It just like is so much time, money, and effort to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so many things turned into dead ends when I was trying to figure it out that I kind of just like was like, I have a lot going on right now, and I'm figuring out a lot in my life of drifting that I was like, I don't really need to go drive Drift Masters this year unless it's like exactly kind of or close to what I want, at least.
Yeah, you got time.
Yeah. I still drove a 26 events this year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to calm down on drifting. I don't know. Like I said, you just chase it and you just enjoy it and you just find events to go to.
Yeah,
like
scaling it back is 20 events a year.
Yeah, but I enjoyed all of them. Like
that's amazing.
Yeah, like, and they all like have a purpose. You know, like I do a couple grid lives because I love the atmosphere, the big tracks, the fun, the guys that run Grid Life. And then I do a couple Drift Appalachias because they're completely different, super fun. Again, real tight group of people, super fun. Like, yeah, mountain drifting has always been my thing. And I've always loved, like, I probably drifted 2 or 3 times a month, every month when I was living in the Northeast, like on the mountain all the time, super fun. And then basically a couple competition events, whether small or big. And then a couple demo events with the Porsche because I've been trying to develop that, and like just very different things across the board that just kind of like, and they're even stacked accordingly. Like really exciting event, marketing, fun event, like really exciting event, like drive with the boys event, you know, like all of that to like really make me like love and enjoy the drifting part of it as much as I can.
Yeah. Saving yourself from the burnout and just being like, I'm fucking done with drifting.
Oh, I say that like every week still.
I say it too.
Why do I even do this?
What the fuck am I doing?
Dude, why? Why do I do this to myself?
But you get that fucking gangster lap with the boys and you're like, this is why I do this.
Yeah. And you got to like stop and realize that, like think about it and enjoy the moment for a minute. Cause like the next crazy thing's going to happen, you know?
Yeah. I watched you pass 3 cars on a bank, like going 4 wide in a team tandem at Drift Symphony 2 yesterday. And I was like, yup, that's Chelsea Denofa.
Yeah. I didn't tell them I was going to do it. I was like, you guys are going to run really wide here, right? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Because I'm like, if I tell them, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because all of us are like too analytical, borderline have mental issues. So like, it's never going to work. I just need to like ship it up the inside and make it work. And I'm like, I'm only going to do it if it looks like it's going to work. And like, I came through the transition. I'm like, it's going to work. And it worked.
It was fucking crazy.
It borderline didn't work, but it worked.
It was sick.
Yeah. And they're like, dude, it's crazy. I'm like, I cannot believe that worked. And I saw the video back and I like, all of us were watching it. We were like, it worked. That was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like the highlight of yesterday for sure. Like everybody lost their shit.
Yeah. Ryan was like, oh, dude, it's like you were so worried about me hitting your door or anything, and then you just kamikazed up the inside, ready to write your car off.
Dude, we're talking full bank into like tiny decreasing radius
Yeah.
with 4 cars.
The plan was I was going to try to get back up on the wall and have them tuck in, but my little car wasn't fast enough at the moment. So, or their cars were too fast. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they got some rocket ships.
Yeah, I know.
All right, everybody. If you've listened to this podcast before, you already know what time it is. But Tire Streets is the sponsor of all sponsors for the Goodest Cast. And guess what? They also sponsored Chelsea Denofa. Chelsea Denofa is now on Tire Streets. And no, we did not record this podcast because of that. It happened afterwards. The podcast happened way before he was on Tire Streets. It's just a crazy coincidence. If you want to save money on tires that Chelsea and I run, literally sitting on them right now, click the link in the description. That's going to give you a discount. And if you want that grand prize super discount, you throw Goodest in on checkout. And you're going to get yourself some tires to go drifting with. The 351, if you like a good party tire, that is the one. If you got wild fitment and you want to try the 351s, definitely go down a click on the tread width because they are wide. They fit chunk. Obviously, the 651's tried and true. That's what I'm running up front. That's been my combo lately, just for the fun events, and they've been lasting for me. So give them a shot. If you didn't like the 651s, give the 351s a try. I feel like you'll enjoy them. Go run it up, tirestreets.com/goodest, or hit the link in the description.
We need to slow down drifting a little bit. That's the 5%.
Yeah.
Slow it down a little bit, one way or another.
Quit chasing grip and crazy horsepower.
Yeah, we kind of talked about like big dicking drifting, and like it is kind of that though. Like I'll use Connor O'Sully as a person for this. He's really, really good. He has a really, really good car, probably more car than everybody everywhere he goes, right? And he always just has like 15% more grip than everyone else. And he definitely does it on purpose. It's a plan. It makes it so that he can chase, he can practice. I get it 100%. But I'm like, man, if you just freed your car up a little bit, all of us would look better, you know? Like, and I'm not throwing him under the bus because he's really, really good. And we've had some really good battles and had fun with it. But he's like, he's pursuing that career of like winning drifting right now, right? And what he's doing is winning drifting. He's succeeding at that for sure. I'm just like, just a little bit, just slow it down just a little bit. Because when he's car 2 and I'm car 5,
or don't bring the killer.
I know.
To the fun
build
of
a cool car. Not that your car isn't cool, but build a cool car to just come shred with us.
Yeah, I think that's important. It's like, bring the right tool for the job.
Yeah. I also get just having one car and using it for everything though too.
Yeah.
I probably should do that. My life would be a lot simpler if I did that. But that's like a thing. Like I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm like, oh, today I want the challenge. I'm going to drive my Corolla. You know, like I want that vibe. I want that feeling. Like I've done this for so long and collected cars throughout the years. Like, and they all have a purpose and a reason for ownership. You know, like none of my cars have any more horsepower than what they need. You know, like none of my cars are built any bit the same. They're all completely different. I'll have like completely different chassis set up on one car than the other car just because I like to experience that and like want to feel that. And there's days where I wake up and I'm like, oh, like my friends are going drifting at this spot or at this track. Like I'm going to bring this car there because that's the car I want to drive. And I'm like, that's what makes me feel most accomplished in drifting, to be able to like have that like slide through cars to pick what you want.
Yeah.
Keeping that maintained is like the most insane thing
nightmare.
ever. And that's why I want to quit drifting all the time. But at the same time, the value is worth it, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you get the fucking video game loading screen. Boop, boop,
Yeah, it's not quite like that.
Yeah.
If you just like were shaking the screen and they were all kind of messed up while you were doing it, then that might be more accurate. But yeah, for sure. For sure.
What's your favorite chassis of...
I love the Cayman right now, dude.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's so good. And it amazes me every time I do something in it. It's like I'm a kid again learning how to drift. Like, not because it's way different, but just because I'm like, is it going to do it? It did it. And it does it with everything. Like, I was like doing some backies and stuff and like figuring that out. It does everything a little bit different, but it's so good. Like
Yeah.
it just works. And like it's kind of fun because it's a testament to like everything I've been learning for 20 years of drifting. When we built that, I kind of like took a real good shot at getting the baseline of it. And I feel like I got that really good, and I've just been fine tuning from there. But like, it's been an awesome experience to be able to be like, I don't like what this car does right here. And then it's like, do I not like it, or is it just different than something else I'm doing, like I've driven? And then I start thinking about that, and I'm like, wow, no, I don't like it. It's actually better because it does this or that. Like in transition, the car, you can snap the car way harder than you'd ever think. Like it never wants to come around the grip, which you'd think would be the opposite because the engine's like in the middle towards the back of the car. Weight distribution's way off. Usually when you have a rear heavy car, it has no off throttle, side bite, and some other things, but this car has tons of it. And like in the transition, when you drive through it in the chase, in a front engine car, you're always like just trying to get out of the pocket and dive immediately back into the pocket as fast as you can, and then you check up to get back. Like that's pretty much, or at least how I drive. Like if I'm driving aggressive, like I overdrive it and bring it back, overdrive it and bring it back. And like in this car, you don't need to do it at all. You can literally just transition with them and sit off throttle and just wait for them to light off. And it's like, what? Like to me, I'm like, I'm driving lazy. And then you're like, no, it just works. Like it just does everything. And with that guy in front of you figuring his life out and when he's going to light off or do whatever, the car just sits at the same angle, doesn't do anything, and then you just light off with the guy. Like it takes like, it's honestly, like I said, it's one of the best chassis I've ever driven. Now, it doesn't have 900 horsepower and it doesn't have crazy grippy tires and all that stuff yet. And I don't know what it would be like if it went that direction. But right now, as like a grassroots car, everywhere it's gone, it's done every track it needs to do. It's tandem well. It drives with lots of angle. You can drive it super hard, and it just takes it.
Yeah, it's got to feel good to put together a chassis and like pretty much pioneer something that's like not really been done and like make it work and then like prove that theory. Like that's got to feel pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I've done it a couple times with cars, and it's been like a learning process every time. Like E36 stuff when I started with that.
I was gonna say, who was before you?
There were definitely some guys in Europe and whatnot, but even still, I don't know. Like, I don't know if they really like had that thought process. Like, I don't really think I never really bought anything from over there and brought it here. I always just kind of built everything myself or got with some of my partners or friends and we put stuff together. But yeah, the E36 I drove one. I have been drifting a Miata for a while, a turbo Miata with like cut knuckles and some other small geometry changes. And when I drove a E36 of my buddies and he just had like tie rods and coilovers, I was like, holy shit, this is better than my whole drift car.
I had that same experience.
Yeah, I'm like, what am I doing? And I think the next day, like I had just recently sold one of my like tow rigs because I was traveling around with some people in the Northeast, Drift Brigade guys, and I didn't need a truck anymore. So I sold that and I went and bought like an E36 M3 for like $3,000, I think. And I started drifting that and like street shredding it and like kind of slowly building it up. And then eventually I was like, I'm going to make this my real drift car. And that kind of like sparked off the like first full blown drift build I ever did, you know, like kind of going into the kinematics of the suspension, like working with BC on building out different shocks and other little things. I didn't know a lot about it back then, but I started taking some like classes and doing some suspension analysis and looking at what the car is doing during drifting, whether it's in videos or like an old GoPro and the suspension arms and things like that.
Sick.
And just started building a car based upon that. And that's the car I had a lot of success with. Like my first E36 had like 20 something wins at events.
It looked good too.
Yeah.
It was a cool car.
It was cool. That was a good car. And that car went for a while. And in 2011, I built the first like super lightweight car, E36. It was 2,400 pounds,
What?
500 horsepower. Yeah. Because I
I'm
was
gonna
like
have to
getting
ask you about those Chicos. My shit's so heavy.
Yeah. It's easier to just build another car. I always tell people that. They're like, oh, how do I get all this weight out of my car? I'm like, just leave that car and slowly build another one because you're going to completely ruin that car trying to make it light. You have to start from the beginning with the mindset of like, I'm trying to build this to be as light as it can possibly be. And that's what we did with that car. And like on a pretty low budget, like I had a drivetrain already, but we built that car for like 10 or 12 grand, I think, back in the day. Like, and it was 2490 something with me in it. And it was like everything was as light as it could be, but it had all steel still. Like steel hood, steel doors, everything obviously gutted and like stripped, but it was like the time overspending money build, as always.
My car is 3K with me in it.
Yeah. It happens easy. Like it happens easy. But that's when I was like I always had the lightest car in FD, I think, even for like they always had power to weight, or they always had tire to weight ratio. So but before that they probably had lighter cars. But during FD, I think I had like most of the lightest cars. Until the RTR rig, which is heavy, but like still 700 pounds lighter than a stock one. But yeah, the light cars are always the way, I think. And that kind of taught me that. And that car building out all of the chassis and changes and like kind of going through that with competition. Like I showed up my first event with that car and won. Like I'd never driven it before. No practice, nothing.
Way.
Built the car, went to Irwindale, drove Pro-Am, won. And I was like, this is the trick right here. Like, I'm like sitting, waiting on everybody else to make their move. And when I light off, I could just put it on their door whenever I want. I'm like, so this shit matters, you know? Like, we need to pay more attention to this and put more effort into it.
Yeah, the rest of my team's better than me. The E36 helps me keep up.
Yeah. Dude, E36 is the best car. Like, Cayman's my favorite chassis to be drifting right now. It has lots of problems. Like long term, that will definitely be an issue. Right now, it's amazing. E36 as a platform there is no better drift car than that for at least people that drive like me. At least
I agree.
Yeah, I think like you can get them super light. The wheelbase is super long. They have no overhang. You can put any engine in them. The chassis is really stiff and strong. Like the suspension geometry, the trailing arm rear is nothing is better than it. Like for me, at least for drifting, like that's, if somebody told me like, if I'm going to another country to drive and they're like, oh, we have all these cars. I'm like, they're like, we also have this like E36 that like is okay. I'd be like, I'll just take the E36.
Yeah.
Like, cause I know you can't mess it up. Like you could have everything be wrong and it's still better than a lot of cars.
Yeah. You could do like those bolt-on lock kits that are like
$100
negative Ackerman. Like, then they still drive pretty good.
And it still drives pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, your car is pretty cool.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I enjoy watching your car drive and you drive.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was watching some of your stuff at Laguna. Just backing it in, driving like a fucking asshole. I love it. So good.
I was just trying to reenact your Road Atlanta moment.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some good E36s. I think yours is cool because it's got lots of style to it too. And it's not like, it's personal style. It's not like just bolting on parts onto a car.
Thank you.
The whole thing is really good. That's like important to me, at least. My car is either going to be really, really basic, or I go down that route of like, I'm building this to have it look cool kind of thing. So you've definitely done the look cool part. And the driving is aggressive and looks sick.
Thanks. Yeah, we got to fucking get some E36 tandem someday.
Yeah, we need to.
No, we're on the opposite coast, but I need to come out here. I feel like there's like I feel like the East Coast is like, because you were living up in Washington or Oregon?
Yeah, I was in Washington for a little while.
Yeah. And so now you're in Florida. Was that move because of like access to drifting, or like what was that?
So I moved up to Washington from Florida. I grew up in Philly and then did a lot. Most of my growing of drifting was like in Philly area, some Florida. And then when I moved to Washington, my wife was living up there. So we kind of got a place and I loved it up there. It's beautiful, like nature, and drifting is good. And like I wanted to change. The summers are mild. And I'm like, summer in Florida is hot. And I was like ready to like make that move. So we did it. I did a couple of years of FD while I was living up there. And then like COVID hit that area and it changed it like completely. Like it just turned into like such a drag to live there.
Yeah, park was gone.
Yeah, like park was, well, we ran through COVID and all that stuff and did some things, and we started the school, and that was great. Like I actually really liked it up there, but just like politically and like the atmosphere of like Portland and that whole area just turned to something that I'm like, the longer I stay here, the more I'm affecting like what I can do. Like I just felt like, and then with park, the city not allowing park to have drifting there, I was like, let's move back to Florida. Like it's reckless there. I love it. It's enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like no one fucks with you unless you fuck with them. There's no like passive aggressiveness. It's all just like very simple. Like it's face value. And like I know in the next 30 years it's not going to turn into Portland or Washington area. So let's go. So we just packed our shit up and moved again. And now I will never move again. I will forever live in Florida. I'm never moving all of my stuff ever again.
Dude, you have a lot of cars.
I have a problem.
I don't know how you fucking did it.
COVID was the reason I ended up with so many cars, because I was like, I don't know if we're going to have FD anymore. Like, what if we don't have FD for the year? Because there's no spectators allowed anywhere. Like, I won't have any sort of income. So I started like COVID hit. I started buying cars like crazy because everyone was like concerned and like worried, and like no one had gotten $1,200 fantasy checks yet. So like I was like, dude, we're buying every shitty E36. So my wife and I just like started traveling all over for like those 3 weeks to a month, buying like $800 328 manuals and like $1,500 to $2,500 M3s that like needed a little work. And like, that's all we did. We like, because there was no FD, no events, nothing was happening. So I just sat in the shop with my buddy Kelly and we just started revamping cars. And then the market went crazy.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the timing on that was fucking
Yeah,
insane.
and I was like, dude, like we have $1,500 cars that are worth like $8,000 now. This is fucking nuts. So but we had the school going, so I was building some of the like maybe not as nice ones into school cars, like, you know, it just needs all these bushings, all this crap. Like, fuck it, build a school car out of it. Like, so we just started building this army of E36s. So that's why I ended up with so many cars, because I was like, while you're looking on Marketplace and Craigslist and all those places, like you just find these other deals and you end up buying stuff. And then you're like, I can't physically fix all these in the amount of time I have in my life. So like, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but your wife, Chelsea, has like really good taste with cars. Like she has
much better taste than
her
me.
fucking car builds are so sick.
Yeah. She has much better taste than I do. I think it's because I worry more about the driving and she's like more about the looks of it. But yeah, she's got some pretty cool cars.
Yeah.
She's becoming really good at driving too. It's kind of neat. I like don't force driving upon her at all because I don't want to open that can of worms.
Yeah.
But I am always like, there's an open spot on the trailer. You could drive this weekend. Like, if you want to drive, here's a list of things the car needs. Like, we can knock them out together and go drive. And sometimes she's like, yeah, sure. And other times she just wants to go shred with her friends at OSW or something.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But she's gotten really good at driving for the little bit of seat time she's got.
She probably is a pretty good teacher, though.
I try not to teach her.
Really?
Yeah. She's very passive in her instruction, and I'm very not passive with my instruction. So I'm like, you know, hey, you could just keep doing what you're doing and fucking up all day, or you could listen to what I'm going to say. You tell me what you want to do, you know, like, yeah. I'll let you just enjoy this and have fun if you want to shred. Like, also, like, if she drove more and wanted to do this, and if she truly wanted to do it, like, she could make a career out of this very quickly, right? Because, like, I could help some. She's beautiful and shreds. Like, that would be great for social. I'm like, but I'm not going that direction unless you want to go that direction. Because, like, I'm not going to have you live the same life I live, and then we're not going to make life work. So it has to be on you if you want to do that kind of thing. So she drives all the time. She's going to do some Drift Week stuff next week. So
sick. Yeah,
we're going to bring Mustang for her so she can shred the S550 a little bit.
That's awesome.
But yeah, she's got E36. That's like basically a school car, but like nicer, techno violet.
Yes.
She's got an S chassis with an SR on Regos that she never does anything with. She builds cars to like look at them in the garage.
Yeah, they look great.
Yeah, she's like an old man.
Yeah.
You know, like they just hang out and like
Take a picture with your hand
drink
on
a
the
coffee
roof.
and look at your car. Yeah. Yeah, she definitely celebrates her life wins with cool cars. So that's cool.
Do you feel like having a partner who like understands makes it easier to keep going?
Yeah, definitely. She definitely gets it. Yeah, I think it is important. I think that it probably works both ways. The person that you're with either has to be disconnected but be supportive, or has to be like in it.
I agree.
I don't think there's like an in between. Like I think there's some great separation and like a relationship can work both ways. But she's definitely in it and there and like steering the ship in my life most of the time. It's really cool. Like I definitely would be nowhere near as successful and way more reckless if I didn't have her by my side. And I don't think that would be better for me or anyone. So for sure. It's important, I think, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm here to talk about trust issues. I have trust issues. And until I found Chase Bays, I had trust issues with my e-brake and my braking system and my cooling system. But we're going to talk about braking systems today. I had trust issues because when I'd yank on that stick, it'd be limp. And nobody likes a limp stick. Me, I can't have a limp stick. When you yank on that thing and it's limp and nothing happens, it's just embarrassing. Everyone watching is just going to laugh at you when you pull on that stick and it's limp. How do you go on with the rest of your days knowing that the next time you pull on that stick, it's going to be limp? Well, get on over to Chase Bays and get yourself all the parts you need to pull on that stick and have it just lock and just impress everyone. You want to just be able to yank on that stick and have it just go, oh yeah, we're locked up right now. We're locked in. ChaseBays.com. Use code GoodestCast for 5% off the hardest stick pull of your life.
What are some of the things in drifting? Like you mentioned, there's stuff that you still have on your list. Like, are there goals in drifting that you haven't even begun to try and reach yet? Or is there anything like in the near future that you're trying to like make happen?
Yeah, I try not to force anything in drifting because I don't believe that drifting as a culture and me as a person, like forcing the future of something is like, usually I feel like is a way to just destroy it for yourself and other people. So like for me, I'm like, right now I'm on the vibe and I think this will be like my future of this is like freestyle drifting. Like I think that something and what you'll ask me what that is. I don't know exactly what that is at this point yet. I think the last 2 years have been like figuring out what that is and trying to do new things with drifting that follow that value. But if you look at like someone like, let's say Travis Pastrana, who raced motocross and became like a champion, arguably one of the best people on a motorcycle at all, like decided, hey, there's some guys out there that are really, really good that aren't in the highest level or aren't doing this. And they ride like amazing. Like we need to highlight that more. Like I feel like that like is my move for the future. Like he started freestyle. Like he didn't start it. Let me rephrase that. He really helped bring up the amplitude of like freestyle motocross. And like that's an entire new thing. Like there's motocross racing and there's freestyle motocross.
Right.
And both of them are very successful. And I think drifting already kind of has something like that. And there's a lot of people that I think now will co-sign that. I think in the beginning, everybody just wanted to compete and drive. And there was like maybe 10% of the people that like saw the future of like, that's not sustainable. I just want to drive and have fun. Like that was rare back in the day because the only events you could go drive were competitions. Like there wasn't a lot of just drift days, you know, there was, but not very many. So like my future move is like trying to grow the freestyle side of drifting and like finding ways where that can be sustainable. And like I don't mean like we all need to get rich off of it, but like
Right.
like having options where you're like, you know, like maybe you drive for fun all the time in the style and like you shred, but like you have to self-activate how hard you're going to drive. And like the only person that can judge how good you're doing is you, or maybe your Instagram post and like everybody being fucking hype on it and like all that kind of feeds it. It's exciting, but maybe there's this thing where like that can happen like as a showcase, you know, like, or maybe it doesn't need to be a showcase and it's like a street skate vibe where it's like part of FD is this like content thing where it's like you go shoot this video of the wildest, craziest fucking driving you can do and you build it out and that's your part, like how you'd have in a skate video or whatever, and that's now judged like during this event, you know, that's on the live stream. Or maybe it's the Drift Appalachia stuff where it's like Tampa Pro-Am Jam where it's like the same thing, like, yo, you pick these 4 turns, we move the judges there, and you and your team or you or whatever run this shit, and the person that drives the best wins a new F350 or something, you know, like some crazy shit that's like really like embracing what drifting to me is outside of the competition thing. And like I think you could bring in a lot of new drivers and people that maybe have been really good drivers in the past, so that they're not like so dedicated to run a whole championship, 8 rounds, 10 rounds, whatever they're going to do. They can just focus on like driving for that goal to drive that event that year or these couple events or whatever, you know?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that concept.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like everybody would be. It's just like, how do you do it and how do you fund it? Because like right now, even at FD, the funding is tough. And now we're just going to do some sideshow thing, like fun, like off the like recklessness, like we have these things that are happening. We're going to turn them up and figure out how to find funding for it. And like we need some sort of investment to kick it off, or it's like really
getting
tough.
all those people in one place with their cars, and or figuring out how to like make that one content piece that goes in one place. It's like a bunch of people got to work together and make it happen. But I think the demand for it is definitely there.
Yeah, I was like, imagine like I come up with this theory, like, and I've been thinking about it, where you have a big prize and it's this content video part thing, and like we announce it and you just tell your crew like, yo, we could win, I don't know, 50 grand by shooting this part. And like we drive events throughout the year. Like you could do it at events that already exist.
Stack fucking clips and
right. Like, and make a part and like you guys win something for that. Right. And like there's some behind the scenes stuff and there's lots of things like, you know, I think there's a way to grow that into something that is sustainable, and it gives a purpose to the people that are spending all the time, money, effort to build drift cars that aren't driving FD.
Yeah.
You know?
So you're not just looking out for yourself, you're looking out for the community.
Well, I feel like
that's beautiful. Like
thanks. Thanks. But I feel like that's what I've been trying to do forever. Like even like when I run my mouth and I'm an asshole to people at the track, it's really just because I'm like, you're not good for the sport. Like you need to change your attitude. Like, and also I'm probably not good at how I'm telling you how I do this, but like someone's got to say something like and check you, because otherwise this shit's going to get out of hand, you know?
Yeah. I think your heart's in the right place. You have like the vision. You want drifting to be this like cool thing that you discovered, and seeing it go in like this like quote unquote like vanilla direction where it's like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I'm the old guy at the skate park.
Yeah.
That's like what I've become.
Yeah.
Remember, I don't know if you used to skate or anything.
Don't fucking mall grab.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
what
yeah.
are you doing?
Don't do that. Don't push Mongo. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like I'm that guy. Like, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's true.
It's necessary.
Yeah. But it's cool because like, not that there are definitely people that are more OG than I am with drifting, but like in American drifting, you know, like me and Reese and let's say Vaughn and Chris and a lot of these Turek and like all these guys that have been doing this for a really long time, like, and have done the pro level and like traveled the world and done all that. Like, I think there's a huge place like that the future holds for that, like the OGs of that, and like helping shape it and grow it. And I know Vaughn does a ton for drifting, and grows it, especially on the commercial side and like marketing side and bringing value to it and all that. But I'm like, how do we bring value to like something that everybody can be a part of? Like,
Yeah.
not just dudes that want to ruin their life trying to drive FD and like spend that time and effort, and like that shit is not for everyone. And I don't know that it's the healthiest thing to do either, you know, like it's tough and it's a lot of work and effort. Like if I put that effort into being a doctor or time or whatever, I'd be much more wealthy than doing this. But instead, like that's the choice and the path we've taken. So I think I'd like to look at that growth that I had and find the points that I find during like my career and the time that were the most fun and most valuable, and associate that with what's going on now in drifting and kind of help that grow to make that easier.
Yeah, take some of the burden off all the people in drifting trying to like quote unquote make it, and give them like, hey, this is fun. Like here's some fun outlets. Here's like a way to make it fun again.
Yeah.
And still be able to continue to do it.
Or at least a platform to have fun. You know, like
Yeah.
obviously you decide if you're going to have fun that day or not.
Yeah.
That's one thing when you learn that like you decide how good your day is going to be, even if it's the worst and things are not going well, you still decide. It's all on you.
I haven't figured that one out yet.
Yeah. Trust me, I go to the track sometimes and I'm just like, I'm just going home. No, I don't need to be here and no one else needs to be around my attitude right now because it just doesn't work out and I'm just not in the vibe. I've like just become better at like enjoying the fact that what we're doing and like taking a minute to step back and watch. Like yesterday at T-Pain's Drift Symphony event, I was like, I stood and watched everybody drift for a while and I'm like, damn, everybody's having a blast. There's 70 people driving here. The vibe is really high. Like it's super good. Like we were kind of talking about it yesterday.
Yeah.
A massive influx of people that have not really seen drifting in real life before, or maybe are very new to it, is cool. Like a lot of different like celebrities and music talent and other things there, and like they all love it, getting ride-alongs, enjoying it. Like that shit is key for sure.
Yeah.
And it's key on a level that's like high vibes and like some commercialism, marketing, and things of that nature that will help grow like drifting as a serious sport. So I feel like that's really important on the other end of the freestyle stuff I was talking about. Like these little things just need some watering in that 5% that I've been talking about.
Yeah, I mean, freestyle motocross is sick. Like I'd rather go watch that than people race bikes.
Yeah, and they both have their place, right?
Yeah.
Like there's timed ways to win, and there's like a race of all those people together, and you get to see them battle it out to cross the finish line first, or you get to see someone's the most aggressive riding or driving or stunts or tricks and them laying it all out on the line like it's the last lap of that race every single time, you know, like, so I think it's just different, and I think they're very cohesive and can grow together. I just think that like we gotta put a little organization in everything, and if everybody took 5%, just did 5% more effort to make drifting better, more enjoyable, or more competitive, or whatever you want to do. Pick 5% and just stick to it and grow it. It'd be big.
I think so too. Damn. Is there any like, I don't know, is there like any track or any part of the world that you haven't been to yet that you're like, this is sick, I want to go be a part of this community?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot. I try to spend like a week every time I go somewhere and like hang out with local drifters and like drive their tracks. And usually it's cool because like when I go over there and the vibe is high, like they want to show me those things anyway, and like we end up hanging out and doing like, I just live their lives for a week, you know, and like
sick.
Maybe it's the best of their lives and they plan it, whatever, I don't know, but like at least I get to see like what those cultures have. And I would like to do some more like Asian countries and see what their drifting is like. Obviously I've been to Japan, but like Thailand has a pretty sick drift scene.
Yeah,
like,
Indonesia. There's like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, and just kind of absorb what I can out of that and check out their vibe and have fun. You know, shred some cars. Like next year, my goal is to do a lot more international stuff. Like this year, we did Portugal, Spain, the UK, and some France. on a whole tour called Up in Smoke. I'd never been to most of those places, and the drift scene is wild, dude. It's reckless. It's crazy. It's like watching like how drifting was in like 2008 to 2010 here. I'm not dating their stuff at all because they have modern stuff, but like that excitement and that energy and that learning and that growth and like just watching it all is like nuts. Like we were driving this event and all the tracks in Portugal and Spain are fucking crazy. The huge elevation change. They're like, they don't have probably as crazy safety requirements for us as the US, but like that's what makes it so cool because the tracks are reckless as hell and they're like on the side of mountains and there's like cliffs and like jumps and like all sorts of things that are amazing. And like these tracks that were road courses that maybe the economy wasn't doing great at some point, like the drifters just came in, took it over, turned them into drift parks, and like it's nuts. There's all these like hidden little drift tracks all over the country that were like maybe kart tracks that shut down that somebody leases or bought the land or whatever. Like we're just driving through like developments with houses and you're like, bam, drift track in the middle of this like a park, like a city park. Like what? It's nuts. Up in the mountains in the middle of like these sick toge roads, like, oh, off to the side, there's a racetrack. Like we're gonna go drift there now. Yeah, it was nuts. And the vibe was so high that like I had to like pull off track a couple times because like random people were just like jumping in trains behind me because they were like so excited to just drive. And I'm like, we don't do this. I have to drive at 4,000 miles in this car. You're going to total me out. I'm like, so I just like pull off and I'm like, I love this, but like, you got to let me know if you're chasing me, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was just, the whole thing was cool. It was a good vibe. And I think there's opportunities like that. And there's like crews of people that shred that like we don't even really probably know about, you know, and they're doing it for the love of drifting and just enjoying it. You know, it's not like a huge thing, you know, for them. Yeah. So I think more international travel for sure.
Yeah. That sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah. But I want to take that back and like what I learned from those places and like make America's drift scene like the best of all, however it can be. Not that I'm like, ooh, America, but like, obviously, like I think, yeah, that, and we have so much potential that I think is just needs filtered out a little bit. So like when I go see those places, I'm like, whoa, there's a lot wrong going on here, but dude, the vibe is fucking wild. Like this is crazy. Like step back and look at this and absorb what's happening. These dudes are like, they don't have a lot of information on setup, but they know they need power, lots of tires and steering angle, and like that's their motive right now. And just watching that and like watching them drive and the technicality and like what the way they drive is like totally different than America, you know? And you're like, maybe they don't have really grippy, sticky tires there. So like their cars are kind of set up differently and they, you know, they go through a set of tires every lap because they're on like little retreads maybe, or like whatever the case is. And you're like, this is just their part of their thing. Like they change tires 40 times a day. Like, you know, and you're like, this is a lot of work. You should just buy new tires. They're like, we should just buy new tires. You're right. It's a lot of work. Like I bring 40 wheels to the track, you know, instead of 10 or 8.
I mean, yeah, we all went through that. I used to dumpster
for
dive,
sure.
And then you're like, dude, I paid like $100 to mount all these tires that last me like a lap and a half.
Not only that, you need all those wheels.
Yeah.
Like, and there's no way you're gonna have cool wheels when you need that many.
Gang of Steelies.
Yeah, right. But that's the vibe, right? It's different, and you just kind of sit back and it's like, it's not like, oh, this is how it used to be in America. It's just like that's how they've evolved this thing. Like in America, you would not see like stock or Steelies on a car that has Wisefab, you know, or SLR or whatever. You just don't really see that.
Yeah.
Because usually, like by the time they're buying that, there's other little priorities that have happened.
Right.
But like being in another country and seeing what their priorities are, it's like
big angle.
Yeah, big angle, but small stock wheel tire, whatever. Doesn't whatever they want to do, but then still like 600 horsepower. So like everything's full lock, burnout, crazy everywhere, stacked up. No one can see because a whole set of tires is gone in one lap. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, this shit is crazy.
It's fucking rowdy.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Yeah, it's different. It's cool. It's cool to see like different people's interpretation of like what drifting is.
Yeah, they're like filtering it through the lens of their perspective. And
yeah,
their, like,
or
environment.
What the guy that was doing well there did, just like we saw back in the day, or now even still, that guy has that, he wins. Like, we must have to have that. You know, like, think about how many people built Mustangs recently, like S550s and all that. Probably because of Vaughn and Adam and me and James and everybody and
1000%.
Ben and all of us building these cars and being successful in them. They're like, well, I need to build one of those. They're successful. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy how it trickles down.
Little do they know there's
There's a lot to that
quite a
basket.
bit of setup. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. It's good though. Just
Yeah.
build an E36. That's it.
Yeah.
If you can find one now.
Right?
Dude.
I was like,
Save them, by the way, also. If you're watching this and you've junked an E36, you're an asshole. Don't do that anymore. Run them into the grave till there is nothing left, because we're going to run out of them one day, and there's no more chassis like that.
I have pulled out both my front strut towers.
I threw away so many of those cars, and I feel so bad about it.
They
now.
were like, no, they're
dude, trust me.
they're $500 for a long time.
I've lived through all of that. That's one thing that I'm very grateful for. Like, I have pictures of me and like a couple of my friends from Philly putting GTS A86s in dumpsters, like back in the day, because they were worth nothing.
They were.
And like, oh, got a quarter panel smashed in, cut the firewall off, cut the back off, and all of us are gonna lift this into the city dumpster. You know, like, and I'm like, what were we doing? Like, oh no. And like the same thing happened with the S chassis thing.
Yeah.
Everybody just discarded them, got rid of them. Oh, it's got a little rust hole here. We just throw it in the trash. I need a perfect clean shell to build my FD car out of that I'm gonna saw off into pieces anyway.
Yeah.
The E36s, thank God they made over 1 million of them. So like there's a lot. But dude, save them. Don't throw them out.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm such an old man saying this, but like, do not throw out parts and cars. Hoard them. Keep them.
Yeah. Buy a farm.
Dude, I don't care what you gotta do.
Yeah,
or sell them. And when you sell them, don't sell them like some sideshow kid or something. Sell them to someone who's gonna do something. I literally would meet up with people when I was selling E36s all the time. And as kids, I would
be like, show me your Instagram.
I would literally, they're like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and this. I'm like, sorry, man. I decided I'm gonna keep the car. And they're like, what do you mean? We're here. We're gonna buy this. I'm like, I'm gonna keep it. And then they're like, message me a couple days later. You haven't taken your ad down. I'm like, yeah, I didn't want to sell it to you. Because I know someone else who needs this and wants this, who's going to use it for something better, will still buy it from me.
Yeah.
Like, I'll wait a couple days to not sell it to you.
Yeah.
And then I know you're not going
to.
Yeah, I know you're not going to register it. You're going to go drive on my registration and go hit somebody or do donuts in the parking lot or some shit.
Yeah.
So I'd rather sell it to someone who's going to either enjoy it, use it every day, or build a proper drift car out of it, or at least just a car you're going to take to go drifting or on the mountain or whatever you're going to do. I just don't want to sell it to some sideshow nerd.
I respect it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody wants that lawsuit.
No, I don't want that at all. I wish we could just no more financing on all those types of cars. Sorry. Sideshows, kill them. They're done. No more of them. Go street drifting. Don't sit in one place. An intersection or something.
Yeah.
Anyways. My ramble. That to me is one thing that hurts drifting though. Is like that mentality and the sideshow thing. Even though it's not really drifting, everyone
People can't
calls
tell
it
the
drifting.
difference. Yeah.
So, not to get. The only reason I'm doing this is to get back on topic and close this discussion because I don't need the sideshow kids to send me death threats anymore. But, yeah, it's not drifting. Just call it something else. I don't know.
Julian's wife already went in on this podcast.
Oh,
about
really?
It. Yeah.
Okay.
No, she didn't get in trouble. So,
I
remember.
Yeah, I made the mistake of telling all the sideshow kids that they know where I'm at 8 weekends a year. Find me if you got beef.
I remember that.
It didn't go well.
I was like,
but true, dude. Take one for the team, bro. That shit ain't gonna be good for drifting.
It's not. It went from like before we don't need to go fully into this, but there was like a point when you'd be
I can see you're triggered already.
There's like that moment where like we were getting from I have no idea. Like some old lady be like, "What's drifting?" To like they kind of know what it is. To oh, you do that stuff in intersections, and you're just like, duh. Do you guys like cool cars? Do you guys like being cool? Well, guess what? There's a place that can help you achieve all your wildest dreams of internet fame. Just kidding. If you want to have a cool car that makes you happy and puts a smile on your face every time you look at it, you need to get with CoreWorks. They can get you all the sick aero. They got Origin Lab in stock, but they got other stuff too. You want sick wheels, they got you. You want a motor built and a pro car built, CoreWorks also has your back. You want a SEMA car built, CoreWorks has your back. They can do it all. One-stop shop. And speaking of shopping, check out their website. They can get stuff that's not on there. If you need it, hit them up. But they have the CoreWorks branded products on there, which you get 15% off because of the Goodest cast. It's all about saving money so you can drift more. Code GOODESTBOY, GOODSTBOY at checkout. Gets you 15% off anything CoreWorks brand. They got sick stuff, so go check out what they got. CoreWorks.
Yeah, no, it's true. It is true.
We worked so
You're
hard
100% accurate.
to like turn it into this thing, and then like right as it was like
Getting respect,
it's like, oh, these are the same. You're like, fuck. Anyway,
sorry to take my guzzling of water out of that. Yeah, people are gonna be reckless. I mean, I've been reckless many times in my life, but the utter disrespect for everything in the sideshow thing is the tough part. They're like the only thing they respect is like themselves, and they don't even respect themselves half the time. So drifting is so different. Like drifting's like the only motorsport I've ever seen where it's like, oh, your car broke down, like, or you need help fixing it, I'll jump in, I'll help you. Oh, hey, I noticed that you're having trouble with the first turn. It's because you have this on your car or you're doing this, you know? And everyone's like, oh, okay, cool, thanks, dude. And then like they come back a couple laps later, holy shit, it worked. That's so cool. Like, yeah. And like it's more about, and I think this is like kind of my mentality too, is like the growth, like what we've been talking about. Like if you could help 5 people be better at drifting tomorrow, even if you compete against them, you would just help them.
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe not if it's at a huge expense to you, but like you would make some effort.
Yeah.
And I like other motorsports is not like that at all. It's like, oh, like people have been fired from teams because they've talked to other teams about like, oh, we do this. Bam, fired. Like, you know, it's like every other motorsport is like the NDA of everything, you know, like drifting is much more like if we all do better, we all win, you know, like, and that's what I feel like the truth of it is like, if we all do better, we all win, we all grow. The bigger drifting can become, while keeping that core mentality is like, that would be the goal and the key for me is like, if it elevates and separates and there's 10 different types of drifting going on in the US and everybody's enjoying it and there's a place for everyone, whether you just buy a beater car and you want to have missile car thrashes or you want to build a sick car that looks amazing that is like team tandem final bout type car, or you want to build this insane unlimited crazy drift car, you can go drive FD. Like if everybody just does their best to like grow that, make themselves better and the sport better, like it will just ultimately become easier for everyone to have success.
I think so too.
Yeah.
That's a good mindset. That's the only mindset.
I mean, that's the mindset of skateboarding.
Yeah.
Like mindset of BMX, maybe both, like all those extreme sports, maybe they're a little bit more brash with shit, but like that's what makes the personalities. Like that's why you have a favorite skater. That's why you have a favorite rider. Like maybe their style of riding is cool. Maybe you like their attitude, like their how they dress or whatever it is. Like it's the same thing. Like drifting fits right into that same market. And I think you could learn a lot by like paying attention to some of those other things and, you know, kind of being open-minded to the freestyle aspect of it. And not just looking at it like, if I'm going to make it drifting, I have to drive FD, you know? Yeah. So
I think that's the goal for a lot of people these days.
Yeah.
And it's nice. It's nice to have other avenues at this point because you're watching like a lot of people who maybe tried pro spec or whatever, and they're just like, I'm gonna do other stuff. Like
It's you gotta want it so bad because the effort to the rewards, like you have to find the rewards, like that sucks, like, and especially in a judged sport where you're like, I did everything I was supposed to do. Like me and all my boys and the fans are like, I should have won that or lost that, whatever.
Yeah.
And you don't, you're like, ugh, it's so discouraging. You're
Yeah.
like, what? Like you're like, oh, I guess I could have done this better, or I could have beat him by even more. But like, dude,
Yeah.
like
how the fuck am I gonna do that?
Right. At what point, like I've said some things to the judges over the course of my career that have always been like based around education all the time. It's just like, you guys are uneducated making decisions. Like, this is very simple-minded decision making. Like, we're doing so many things on track that are so complex and so crazy, and then I lost because I put a tire over a line, and like, but the rest of the run was like 100, and the other guy basically straightened behind me. Oh, well, you put a tire over the line in the rule book, and you're like, but I thought we were judging this off of like who the better driver is, right? But instead you're judging it off of these rules, which then makes it super open for interpretation to play games or make changes or play a game, meaning like not necessarily playing against the other driver, but you build out a strategy on how to win that isn't promoting the best driving.
Yeah. But that's why I don't watch FD.
Yeah. It's brutal.
It's hard to watch. It's hard as a driver. It's hard to watch.
It is,
because you're like, that run was fucking gangster.
Yeah,
you're like, that chase was gangster, and then they're like, oh well, this happened. You're like, what the fuck? Like,
you're like, who cares? Like, he took level 10 out of 10 risk,
dude,
and 9 of the 10 things worked. 1 didn't.
Yeah,
the other guy took no risk, anything, and now he wins. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
make it Monster Jam. Like,
yeah,
who did the fucking better backflip?
Right. Who went bigger? Who went crazier? Like,
yeah.
And then there's strategy to that. You just keep going crazier every lap till the final. Like whatever. I know. Like my team and with RTR, when we pulled up to the finals, they were like, "Well, like get all the spares ready for this 5-minute call because Chelsea's about to either write this car off or push that dude's fucking door through the firewall." Because it's like, we're already there. We've made it. I don't have to fucking hold back anymore. Yeah. Like, whether I get first or second place here, I'm getting enough points, like, throughout the season. Like, those are like when they got rid of qualifying and the 2-lap thing, like, it was the same thing. It's like, I like the new qualifying, the seating and all that stuff, like the bracket. But I think that when they had 2 runs of qualifying, everyone got 2 runs, the second laps of qualifying were crazy. And I think we kind of lost the evolution of like how crazy the runs could be because of not having that second lap. Because people would find out what worked and how crazy it was in those laps because they could push to try to get that first qualifying spot.
Yeah.
And now there's no push. It's just tandem. And it's strategy on how to be just 5% better than the guy that you're following or leading or whatever, your battle, 5% better. And like that to me is what's like kind of opening the door to this more freestyle stuff, I think. Yeah.
As one door closes, another door opens.
Right. I think that like if they're going to go that route with competition drifting, especially FD and all that, then cool. Like maybe that does work better for the majority of the people that are there. Like it's selfish of me to think like, oh, FD sucks because it doesn't do the things I want it to do. Like, that's silly. But, like, at the same time, like, I could leave, and go do my own thing. And that's my thought process, So maybe that does work. And then it opens up the door for this whole other thing where it could be more reckless and fun and the people can win off of driving better than the other person or just in general,
Yeah. Keep shit exciting.
I feel like we're going in circles with the same thought process.
It happens.
Yep, for sure. I saw a post that you made, not to change direction, where you were like, oh, I love this drifting, all that. And you said something about like the only thing, or talking about how great life was. And you're like, the only thing left is finding a way to not have my 9 to 5 or something like that. And I relate to that 100% because it's like I did it for 15 years, I think, before I actually made the plunge. And like, I'm not saying I don't know your scenario, but if you're out there and you're there and you've been doing whatever you're doing, even if it doesn't look like it will be successful, just take the plunge. Just go for it. Just figure it out. You will always, if you already have that thought process, like this is just in general, like you just got to go for it.
Yeah.
It like you'll always find a way to make it work. It might suck for a couple of years, but ultimately like you'll be happier and have your goal. And you can always go find another 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Even in 6 months, if it's not working, you can always find another one. And like what you'll learn that quickly will be like really helpful. I feel like that's a big message for a lot of people. Just go for it.
Yeah.
For sure.
I appreciate that.
No worries.
Yeah. I'm on the cusp, you know? I'm trying to make it work.
Yeah.
This drifting stuff's hard, man. It's like you fucking know better than anybody.
No, for sure. But it's even harder when like it's a stressful thing because you haven't like made that decision yet. Like obviously if you're thinking about that decision and you have been for a while, it's because you've already ran some like scenarios through your head and figured it out. And like you probably have it figured out. You're just like scared of the next step or like what if this doesn't happen or what. It'll work. Everything I've done in my life has been that risk always. You'll always find it.
Have you always been like, I feel like you have like a confidence about you where you like just fucking go for shit?
No, I like constantly analyze nonstop and I probably attack half my decisions. Because like if I attacked all of them, it wouldn't have been successful with anything, I think. But like I'm always like, okay, like I'm sure same scenario you are, like leaving your job to pursue your dream, whatever it is. Like you're like, okay, I could do this podcast stuff and grow that. I could do this drifting stuff. I have a couple people in drifting that if I dedicated it to, like I could figure this out. I could get a couple partners for a podcast like that I believe in and I align with and like all these things like. And then I could go a year where like if I ran into some trouble, I have a couple things I could sell. Like, you know, like I could make this happen. And then you think about that all the time in the plans and they always go back to the same thing. I could do this. I could do it. So you just do it because you're going to figure it out and you'll always make it happen. Like, I feel like, you know, there's 5 other things that you think of and you're like, there's too much risk in that. You know, like, but like just believing in the fact that you can do it is big. And that's like I said, that's how I built my entire career. Even like leaving FD, like I made that video announcing that I was leaving the day it got posted.
No shit.
Because I was like, I knew I was leaving. I already committed to it. But I was like, in my mind, I'm like, man, once I put this video out, like that's it. Like and I'll die by the sword because that's how I am. Like I'm going to push until I figure it out. And like, if I do this, I'm out and I have to figure out how to do this in another way. And I didn't have a lot of the stuff lined up, but I just like was like, yo, it's going to work. Like I believe in this. It's going to happen. Like that next thing, like leaving FD was like leaving your job for the next thing again.
Seriously.
And yeah, and you figure it out. And it's like the struggles you learn from them. And like, you know, as long as you have a couple steps forward every year, you know, you're winning.
What do you do to like, this is kind of like a question I like to ask people who do compete. What do you do? And like a lot of the people listening to this are drivers and compete and like everybody gets like nerves and stuff. Like what was your trick for like locking in or like blocking out that like anxiety or fast thoughts?
I kind of like kill it with confidence. Like if I pull up to the line, no matter who I'm battling, like there's always something that like you do better than the other person. It doesn't matter if it's like the entry or the transition or the whatever. Like I just have that thing where I'm like, if I'm battling Matt Field, I'm going to win because I don't steer my car the entire time I'm driving. Like he always just goes like this the whole time. I know the judges don't like it. And like, I know if I don't do that and our runs are the same, I'm going to win. Or I'm like, if I'm pulling up to the line against someone that I think like, let's say like James, I'm like, I could win this. I could lose this. It goes either direction. I'm like, but I've been doing this for 20 years. And like, I got to this moment right now at this position because I can win and am capable of winning. So like, you know, that person's not going to play games. You know, they're going to drive hard. Like you just need to push and like take selective risk. Like that's my my whole thing. If I want to win, right? If I just want to jam and have a battle, like sometimes we go one more times, and on the last one more time, I'm like, yo, I'm bat running this shit like we're at Ebisu and we're in thrash cars, because like if I'm going to run this one more time, like I'm either winning or losing right now. It's not like I'm going to make this decision the judges call.
Yeah.
You know, and just like confidence in the terms of like why you're there and what you're doing is like a big thing for me, at least. Because like a lot of times I'm like, yeah, I don't know about the judges, the calls, the this, that. Like my car is maybe doing this or having a problem. You're like, none of that shit matters. Like you leave the line, you just got to be better than the other person. Like, so if you are better or you know something you do better and you can emphasize that, like that confidence of knowing like if you don't make a mistake and you do that one thing better, you're going to win, you know?
That's good advice.
Yeah. I get way more nervous and way more like overexcited driving like last night in tandem with like 20 random people that I have no idea who they are. That's like the most dangerous thing ever.
Hot lapping on a fucking oval is crazy.
In the dark with smoke and like can't see shit. Yeah. And like people are in the barriers spun out and like no one is their best because they're all just hanging out bullshitting all day. Like it's not like it's great, but I'm saying like in a competition setting, like you know that person's going to do everything they can do to win, like, and they're going to be on their A game. They're going to make mistakes. Like that's all drifting is like when you're learning drifting, you're making mistakes. You're learning from your mistakes you made 100 feet ago. When you're at a high FD level, like you're fixing the mistakes that you made 5 inches ago. All it is the entire time you're drifting is just you're fixing the mistake you made a few minutes ago. Like that. It's not as smooth of a sport as like road racing or other things. So like you just need to be on top of it and make your mistakes be corrected even faster than the other person, and you're going to win.
That's good advice.
Yeah. I mean, at least that's how I look at it. The more you can simplify things when you get in the car to drive, the better.
Yeah.
You know, just get in your rhythm. I've been competing and racing my whole life, like with BMX and all that stuff. So like, I don't think I ever had like the really gnarly nerves, but I do get in my head like thinking about what's going to happen and all that stuff, and like you just don't have control over it. Like all you have control over when you leave the line is like to do the best you can to react to that guy in front of you in the chase, and then the lead is to just do everything that the 3 dudes up there are going to judge you on the best you can, and then like that's it. What are you going to do past that? You can plan all you want, but when that guy pulls the handbrake into turn 1 instead of powering into the turn or doing a flick, you're like whole entire plan's out the fucking window now, and you're like, oh shit. Yeah, right. Like the best training you can do is like last night, just jumping in and tandeming with random people that you don't know, their car, what they're gonna do, their line, anything. Because if you can dodge a wrench, you know, like you're gonna win.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that shit's good practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, driving AVS on a like open practice day is like fucking gauntlet. Like,
yeah, plus that track's like the magical road. If you fall off, like you're fixing your car for an hour.
Yeah.
As soon as you drop a tire, like, oh, I'm in the shop for 2 hours. Oh, I'm in the shop for 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like having gnarly tracks with that kind of stuff. But that's like
it's sick.
That's like the skate park, you know, you gotta like dodge the scooter kid, you know?
Oh yeah. For sure. And their mom yelling at them at you for what they're doing. I went to a skate park like a year ago. It's been a long time since I skated, but I came out with a new skate deck that was like my Fox body deck, and I wanted to go skate. And I was like, I'm gonna go to the skate park, and I realized how bad I was at skateboarding because I hadn't skateboarded in a while. I'm like, I'm gonna get so fucked up today, and I could not believe the amount of like moms and kids that were like yelling at each other at the skate park. I'm like, we used to go to the skate park and it was like a no adults allowed.
Yeah.
Like that was like a unwritten law.
Yeah.
And if you were an adult, you better shred or we're going to push you out. And now it's just like a roller rink.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, this is dangerous. I'm 200 pounds. I'm going to smoke this 5-year-old kid on a scooter that's like rolling around aimlessly. And then the mom's going to like sue me over it, dude. I'm like, this is a totally different ball game. We need to make sure drifting doesn't happen to that. That doesn't happen to drifting for sure.
Oh.
Put that on the notepad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. All right. What's your favorite part about drifting? I'm going to ask you some questions now.
My favorite part about drifting?
Favorite's a bad word for that. What is something that like excites you and makes you have like a good feeling about drifting.
There's nothing better than like watching your friends do something fucking crazy. It's just like the skate park energy. Like landing the trick yourself is amazing, but like being with like a group and like watching someone throw down like some fucking gangster entry or chase run, and you have that like camaraderie going on, and that's like the fucking best.
Yeah.
And if you're all in the cars doing it together, then it's just like another tier. Like getting out, hugging your boys, like that was fucking crazy. Like you're fucking patting my fucking hood, you know?
Sick.
Yeah, like that feeling is like, that's just what I chase, you know? That's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I think a lot of that too. Like even when in the chase and the tandem stuff, for me, when I like just reiterating what you're saying, there's so much shit that can go wrong and so many things that are like on balance and like making that work, and two totally different people that are pressing buttons and steering a car around
So
a track that like when it works, it's like magical.
Yeah.
It's like, how the hell did we make all this work? Like none of our cars are really the same. We all have different things going on, but it all is working out right now. And then you get the next turn and it still is working out. And you're like, how long can this last?
Yeah.
You know, and like maybe you did a whole lap and it was perfect. And you're like, you just pull into the pit and you're like, everyone's so stoked the whole lap because they were looking in their mirror at you and you're chasing them. And then like it all just worked.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely, I agree. That's a good feeling for sure.
It's euphoric. It's the fucking, that's the, like, I don't know, building a cool car and having people like it's cool, but driving fucking with your friends and putting on a show. And
yeah, I think the cool car and like that people like is like the icing on top that like solidifies it all.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing I even like my stuff I've lacked. I feel like when I build a car, I'm so concerned about how it's going to drive and how I feel and what I love about it that like I don't necessarily care about like what it looks like to everybody else. And like I've been trying to, like the Porsche thing, I've been trying to change that. Like when I build that car, I'm like, it's got to be fucking slammed. I'm like, the tire has to literally be smoking on the fender whenever I'm turning. I'm like, because like that's what looks sick. Like I want to be like, damn, that looks cool. I don't want to be like, oh, that driving's cool. Cause like I've done that already. I've done those things. Like I'm like, now I'm like, it's got to be cool. Like when I built that car in Europe, same thing. Slammed as fuck, tire rubbing on the fucking fender everywhere, side skirts getting blown off and shit. Because I'm like, that is what's cool about drifting too. Like it adds that level of like coolness on top of it.
Yeah,
sure.
it's a, like don't give a fuck. Like I don't know, building a cool car and then thrashing the shit out of it is like the best.
Yeah,
like,
I don't have a fiberglass guy.
Yeah.
So like it gets really expensive. I always say this. I'm like, if your car is slammed and it looks fucking sick all the time, like you must have a homie that hooks you up with paint and fiberglass work. Like, and that dude's just like the guy.
He's like, and he hates you.
And he hates you.
He's like,
right.
Keep it on the fucking track. Like, no, I don't have a fiberglass guy. I just fucking zip tie, stitch all my shit back together.
All right. That's cool.
But like, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Like it's a team effort to have a really cool car like that. Like that doesn't just happen with one person. You can have a really good car that shreds and all that with a really good driver with one person. But once it has to look perfect all the time, even at an FD level with the monster truck ride heights and all that shit, if you notice, most of the cars are clean all the time. And they're always like putting wrap over holes at the end of the day, all that stuff. Like, so the next day it looks the best it can be. That never happens when it's only one person. It's definitely a community to make the car keep looking cool.
That's the one part about having a team and doing team drifting is usually one person's pretty good at something.
That's good. You just delegate it.
Yeah. It's like, all right, paint, you do fucking, engine shit, you do wiring. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good vibe. Yeah, I need to get a team together, I guess.
Yeah. It's kind of like being in a band, You
guys,
You guys like go on tour and you like fight and shit.
Yeah.
And,
oh, there's
a lead singer and you're like always like, he gets all the girls, man. What the fuck?
He gets all the Instagram likes, bro. It's crazy. That's funny. Yeah. That's fun. Yeah, I do think it is like that, actually, now that I'm thinking of it. I was never in a band, like, later in life, but early in life I played in some bands, and, like, it is a vibe like that. Drifting does have similar things, like, when you're playing and you guys, and you land the song like perfect, where like all the notes are good and the bass is on and everything's good. Like that feeling is very similar to the Tandem.
Yeah.
That balance of it. It's cool. Similarities there.
We're just car musicians.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, probably similar.
Yeah.
That's why we chase it, though. I'm sure. Just like bands, they work forever to make no money, so it's the same shit.
Yeah, they're all living in a fucking van, road tripping.
The problem is we don't just have a guitar or a drum set. We have a whole fucking car and 40 wheels and tires we got to bring everywhere. It's a disaster. It makes everything so much more difficult.
Yeah. So now you're like doing your own shit. You're like, now you're your crew. Well, you've always done like events yourself. Like you've never just done FD. You've always been like a guy who goes and drives like the Gamblers look fun as shit. Like, are you pulling up like solo truck and trailer fucking? Yeah,
I'm like, I'm efficient to a fault with that stuff. Like I still run an open trailer everywhere. Like I have an enclosed, but I'm like, it's like several $100s cheaper to just drive my open trailer. Yeah. So I just drive that, which is stupid because you're like, you're spending the money. You might as well just have what you want there. But I'm just like, whatever. And if it's a competition where like I have to turn around the car quickly, like an actual top 16 or 32, I usually bring one dude with me because like I want to be able to stay in the car and get tires changed and other little things. And I also want someone to like help me with my defeat. Like I'll go to the track and if I'm like, there's 10 minutes till I got to go up and battle and I have a problem with my car and it's just me, like I feel defeated sometimes. And I'm like, do I really want to go through all this to get this next battle sometimes? Because like really I'm like enjoying it for fun. And if I have to get under the car and swap a diff out in 10 minutes by myself, I'm like, I'm not going to be my best when I get back in the car anyway.
Fuck no.
So I'm like, I bring one dude with me. I have a couple different guys that I work with that stuff that are really good and like in thrashing and intelligent and like can do car setup and stuff. So like it's good for that. But yeah, usually I drive the rig there. I show up, I unload, get everything sorted. Before that, I'll mount all my tires and all that. I have one dude in my shop that's basically full time that maintains like most of my cars and helps me do upgrades and like improvements on the cars. So that I can be in the office and find funding to do all this all the time and not go insane. Something that people may not know about me is there's nothing I hate more than working on a car.
Why do all the best drivers feel like that?
I mean, I work in the shop probably 40 hours a week, but like while I'm doing it, it's only because there's a purpose.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate it. The amount of times I just walk away, close my door, and turn my lights off in my shop is daily. Because I just reach a point where I'm like, nothing can matter as much as how much I hate this. I'm just being truthfully honest with you guys because I'm sure everybody feels that same way. Like when I'm like trying to get a wheel bearing off, when I could be taking a phone call or creating a piece of content or doing something that's like fun or could make me $1 or whatever, and I'm sitting there with a torch and a wheel bearing and like trying to get this thing off for like 7 hours, you know, I'm like, there's better things I could be doing with my time, and that's super frustrating going back to the efficiency thing. But like I wish that I could just have 3 dudes in my shop that just do shit all the time. Unfortunately, the way that my bank account works, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I have some key guys that really help me with stuff and get things done. And like, I try to balance it so that I'm not like so rushed so I can actually enjoy like putting the car together and enjoy and do that. But like, I just hate being a mechanic so much that like, it's hard. I hate wrenching. I only wrench for a purpose, not for any enjoyment. So if you see me wrenching and you come over and ask me questions or something, if I sound like I'm being a dickhead, I probably am, but it's not because of you.
I get that. Yeah, fucking. I got a couple teammates that like fucking hate working on cars. But I get it.
But you have to.
You have to.
They're like, my guy that works for me now is like, dude, what? Like, you know so much about all this stuff. How do you know? I'm like, because I have been doing it for 20 years. Like, yeah, but you hate working on cars. I'm like, yeah. Still doesn't change the fact that like I wanted to do this and something drives me to continue to do this. You know, like you just gotta do it.
Yeah, you love drifting that much. You're willing to sacrifice your mental health working on cars.
Right. That sounds silly and like kind of like almost privileged the way you said that. But it is kind of true. I'm like, I say this to myself all the time. You've been doing this for 20 years. You won a championship in drifting. You've been at the highest level of your career, and you're still doing oil changes, brake pads, wheel bearings, and like all this crap all the time. Like, what the fuck are you doing wrong? But it's just like how it works.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't get it without putting the effort in.
Yeah.
If you want something, you got to fight for it, and that's it. Or maybe you don't, and I haven't figured out that in my life yet.
I don't know. I think in drifting in its current phase, like, it's probably like drag racing in the 70s or something, where it was like, yo, you're the fucking man, but like, you still got to build motors and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like,
for sure,
it hasn't like reached that, level of. Yeah.
I think it has for some people, though. I think
Yeah.
it has for some people. I just need to balance that better. That's like one of the goals, like, that I knew was going to be not a thing this year when I left FD and started doing my thing. I'm like, I know I'm going to be just like wearing 100 hats this year, but I need to figure out what things I'm valuable to my own program and all that stuff, and then get some people to help me with the things that maybe, can be helped with to free up time so I can keep growing.
That's fucking hard.
It's hard.
Yeah, being
It's
a
hard.
fucking entrepreneur in
Oh, yeah.
the automotive space and like
So
personality and like
So stupid. If you don't love it and you're in the automotive community, you should definitely not. You should go do something else, make money, and then enjoy your car on the side.
yeah,
For
just
sure.
drop it off at the shop and have them fucking
Yeah,
get ready for the
for
next
sure.
event.
Like I was saying earlier, like if I put how much time I put into learning chassis setup and cars and driving and all that stuff, actually delete even the driving, just in like running a program and building out like everything that I've done. If I put that effort into anything else, it would be like $1 million programs by now. And I could just go drifting on the side in an all white car with no partners and just be sick as fuck and have 20 aero kits ready to go for when they're scraping on the ground and blowing off all the time. So my shit looks perfect all the time. But instead, grunt work.
Yeah,
Grinding, dude.
I think it's coming.
Yeah. No, it has. I mean, I'm not, when I say this, I'm not complaining at all. It was more of like a thing, like if you want it, you got to do it.
Yeah, it comes across. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think it's like good for people to know, like, because they see, championship driver, driving 1 million events. Like, I think a lot of people don't have that window into your life and know what it's like to still be like grinding on a daily basis, like trying to, figure out how to like keep growing essentially a program in business and keep cars on the fucking road and making it to events and all the shit that goes along with it. Like,
that's all of it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a thing. But like I said, that's again the freestyle drifting and growing this and like finding that place, like, so that maybe there's another, like, currently there's 35 or 40 FD drivers. Maybe there's 35 or 40 freestyle drift drivers in 2 or 3 years, and then maybe there's 35 or 40 of something else, like these, gambler pro-am type events that, like, whatever the case is, small tire events or whatever the case is. Then there's, regional 25 or 30 or 40 or whatever. And then that starts growing and just keeps giving a purpose to like why we do it,
Yeah. We'll get there.
We'll get there. Why E36?
I drove one and I was like, the fuck, this car is so slept on.
Yeah.
I was like, why are people not drifting these? Like, it just like feels solid and the chassis feels good and like minimal fucking. I drove one with like lowering springs and like I don't even think it had an angle kit on it. And I was like, this car feels so good.
Yeah.
And I was like, fucking windows are buried in the doors and like there's like wood holding fucking shit up throughout.
Oh yeah,
the
they're
car.
not actually good cars.
Like,
no one said they were when they were new. They
yeah.
have a 10-year life expectancy, and we're getting them at 30 years.
Yeah, I was like thinking about how nice it would be to have like a off the factory, like off the lot, like E36 M3. Like,
yeah,
that'd be perfect. But those days are gone. So like
they're gone.
I don't know. I just the real it's kind of a long story, but I blew up my SR and my S13. The the shop I was keeping it in, like I got asked to not be there because a guy got caught living in the shop.
Oh, perfect.
And then parted that out, and I was living in the city and I didn't have any parking. So I was like, well, I need something I can drive around on the street and park on the street. So I found this E36 M3 with like a cage in it for $3,000, and I was like,
Sweet.
yeah, fucking slapped SLR on it in the fucking gym parking lot that I used to keep my car at because it said gym parking only, and I had a membership. So
Perfect. Dialed, dude.
Didn't say how long.
That's perfect.
I would go work on it there, and that's how it all started. And then I started driving, and I was like, this thing's fucking awesome.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
They're like super impressive at things you don't like ever think about.
Yeah.
Like all the little things, like especially coming from an S chassis, which is a great drift chassis, but like the effort that you have to put into them to build them is like 5 times what you need at E36, because like you don't really need anything but an angle kit and a welded diff on an E36. And like it will fucking rip.
I took it out when I bought it on like stock suspension and stock diff.
Yeah.
To a drift event like the very next day, and was like tandeming with people.
And it
had like crazy body. There's like I have a photo of it. It's like crazy body rolled, but like I'm like
shocks are blown.
Yeah. There's a photo of me chasing like Ryan Cotto and Julian Jacobs when their cars were like the most crazy ever, and there's this stock fucking piece of shit like fucking M3 all like
leaking coolant and fucking burning oil.
Julian's like, dude, you're fucking ruining the photos.
You're like, oh, sorry, my fucking M3 is ruining this photo of a S13 and a 350Z
with your fucking secretary Nissan.
Yeah, right. Sorry, my sports car. No. Yeah, it's funny.
I was immediately elitist when I bought it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, trust me, because I just build a Porsche now. I'm just the next step of elitist prick. From BMWs to, like, Mustangs that can't even leave a car show without crashing to Porsches. Dude, I've got them all covered.
Yeah, you're welcome in any community now, though.
Or not welcome in any of them. I don't know yet. Yeah, that's cool. The E36 story, I think, is the same for a lot of people, especially like organically, like falling into that scenario. It's just like it's a really good chassis and it just works, and like they're very durable. You can crash them pretty good. Like there's lots of little things about them that, like, as you own them, you're like, man, I really don't need to build any other type of car unless I have like a fantasy about building another type of car.
Yeah.
Like, all my cars always go back to E36. Like the Porsche, the front steering geometry, the knuckle, the caster trail, the roll center is all E36.
Interesting.
And the main reason I built the Porsche is because it has a long trailing arm and 2 long outrigging arms. So it's just like E36, similar. Like I convert all of my cars back to the greatest.
Yeah, shout out 90s DTM
That's
engineers.
Right. That's right.
They like figured it out.
I know. Everyone's like, oh, I built an E46, drove an FD, and then I built an E90 or F-Series or all that. And they're like, I fucked up. They're like, I should have just kept my shitty E36. I'm like, yep. I'm like, the problem is now E36s cost more than E90s. So
that's true.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's cool. Favorite type of turn? What is like your favorite shape of a turn? Like walk me through, like if you were gonna have one turn on your property that you could drift every day, like what would that turn be like? I
really like a big long straight into decreasing radius, just because it's like you can do backies, you can do like really fucking wild tandem entries, like I don't know, like at ABS Aaron and I have been working on like clutchless feints into fucking 90s, like that whole little section there is like, it's just scary, and then like it's exciting, you know.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff I really like. And then also
it's like you're hanging 10, like it's like because you got to get close to the outside of the turn, but then you're gonna drive in, but you have to wait to drive in, so you're kind of like at limbo to the way you chucked it into the turn, like you like reap or sow, like how you throw it into the turn. That's cool.
And honestly, the corkscrew at Laguna is fucking crazy.
Was it cool?
Yeah, like
that's cool.
That was like
I've never drifted that before.
Yeah, you gotta come out for that.
I would. Every time I want to go, it's like 8,000 miles round trip, and like I look at the cost of me going, and I'm like, does not make sense. But what I need to do is plan like 3 events out there around that time, so I have a car there.
Yeah, if you can make it work, like you would shred that thing, and it's like it feels like you're dropping in at the skate park.
Sick.
Like that's like
super cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, decreasing radius turns are always a ton of fun. There's like I like boxy turns, so like almost like turn 1 to turn. I guess I don't know if you count the kink at Apple Valley. But like it's at 2 and then 3 is the U-turn.
Mm-hmm.
So like my fun sections are always like from the inner clip of 1 to 3, where it's like kind of an extension, but it's not like a radius. It's just like a kink.
It's all momentum.
Yeah, exactly. And like you reach and then you add the angle to slow yourself down. So like whenever I'm like designing a track or building something or going to dry places, I always look for like the like kind of like long extensions where like it takes timing. Like also you could do it without a handbrake by using other tools, or you could use the handbrake, or you could go way too fucking fast and back it into the next turn, or like in the chase you can like make up ground there.
I love that section.
Yeah, so
I
like
love that section.
Even the Apple Valley one's a bit short, but it gives you the vibe because we were just kind of talking about that turn. But yeah, like big extensions like that, or even like turns that are like triple apexed out in like a square or like whatever. So you're like out, in, out, in. So as you're doing it, you like are checking the boxes of like where you're supposed to be and how well you're doing it. And like kind of like instead of just a radius turn, you know?
Yeah. Big sweepers are boring.
Yeah. They're just car killers.
Yeah.
They just cost money.
Kill your car, kill your tires. Yeah. Driving yesterday on the bank, I was like, now I know why everybody brought like 1,000 tires. Like,
dude, I know. I'm like, I always just like to drift the inside and like get up on the bank and then like then go as fast as I can for the next thing and not even drift it, because it's like I get it when like, especially when you're new to drifting, like it's like brash, full throttle, like back to the big dicking thing, you know, like just everywhere. But I just see like dollar signs and mechanical work. The whole time I'm going around the turn, I'm like, damn it, I'm this mechanical empathy like the whole time. Like this is like yesterday, it has fucking 2 bank rides on the track. I'm not talking shit. It's sick.
It was cool. But
yeah, the whole time just like, can we be done this turn? I'm at like 8,000 RPM. Like the tires are melting. My whole car's filling with smoke. And everybody watching is like, yeah,
that's the coolest shit I've ever seen.
It's at my cost. Like, and time. Can we just build technical little tracks?
Technical's the best. Short track drifting is like, I don't know. I think people have to see it in person to like recognize like what it is. That's
one of my 3-year plans. If anybody watching can help me with this, but 3-year plan, not to use your podcast as a reach out, but I want to run like a 4 or 6 round US based kart track championship. With like small tire rule, like a couple other things, probably a tire list, so it's not actually by tire size. So that way you could run a bigger tire that's less grippy. Other things.
That'd be cool.
But anyways, that's besides the fact.
That's really clever though. Yeah.
That is at a kart track. It's all live streamed, and there's like some sort of monetary support, whether it's like every round you win, we expense your next round to go to the next round, or like a cash payout, or like maybe we have this like, I have this crazy idea of like having like a 3 or 4 car stacker trailer setup that like the guys who win get a ride to the next place. And if you don't, you're stuck there at the next place if you don't win. So it becomes this like thing where you now need to like figure out how to get your car places and shit. But if you're winning, you're actually winning. Like you're not paying for shit and you're going and drifting and shredding.
Yeah, that sounds fucking cool.
Yeah, like imagine like you go to the first round, you have your own shit, you get there, and then like you win, right? And I cover all of your tires, your transport, and everything for the next round. So you just show up, drive, shred, and then maybe if you win again, it happens again. So now the reward is like kind of fits back into the whole scenario of it. But anyways, kart track thing, some sort of monetary payout. Maybe it's just cash, something. I don't know. I always feel like you blow the cash instead of like going to the next event, but whatever. That's life.
Yeah.
But like big live stream, big like push on marketing, like make sure we have really good drivers, maybe drivers that necessarily aren't like popular or anything, but they are really, really good. Like maybe bring in like someone like Jesse Streeter or something to compete again for a round.
Yes.
Or like something, people like that. So like there's like this cool like kind of it's about drifting vibe, but also we're showcasing that to everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that some of the best driving will happen because the tracks are good and like have the announcers do the whole thing just like how you would normally do it. But like everything is scaled down, looks sick, and it's like very, very obtainable for people.
What's the clip that everybody saw from LZ World Tour Ireland? It was James Dean and the other dude in the fucking Altezas.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
adoring
the
each
banger
other.
Altezas, yeah.
That's the fucking viral clip from the event.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
that shit was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like judging that, and I'm like, I don't even know who wins this. Like, this is insane.
They were both perfect.
Right. It was really, really good. It came down to who was more aggressive and who wanted to be took more risk, and that's who won. But it was like, yeah, super cool.
Yeah, that concept's sick. But like, yeah, that's what.
Imagine if we did that type of same thing, even if we did the battle in a basic car for one more time. It's like, I like that idea. But it was on a track that was like nice and appeasing to the eyes. Like it was cool. Like a lot of these kart tracks, dude, you could have an overhead drone in the corner of the thing and the whole entire thing would be one steady shot.
Yeah.
So you had like that video game feeling, and like the other parts were like the normal camera angles and whatnot and announcers and going over it. And now there's 8 turns on one track because you can get 2 laps and not have to change tires because it's slower. And like now there's like the judging is easier because it's more complex and there's more of a clear winner. Whoever drove better actually wins.
Yeah.
It's not on some technicalities.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm like, that is a move like I would like to do because I feel like there's so many people out there that rip that could afford a couple $1,000 weekend to go compete at this level, which would still be very, very high. It's just
and
toned
so
down,
fucking fun,
and it's super fun. And we'll get people that normally couldn't go drive and see their competitiveness. So
chuck some fucking team tandem shit in there.
Yeah,
as like a side
sure.
quest, and
the team tandem thing needs to grow. Like that is a thing of drifting that should be one of the more marketable things in drifting to me.
Everyone who sees it in person fucking loves it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that again, the 5% thing I've been saying this whole time. If everybody put 5% more effort into making that more popular and cool, instead of it just being a sideshow all the time, like team tandem thing outside of like final bout is like, oh, we're just gonna do that as a filler thing. Like no, like it's not a filler thing. This is more important.
Yeah,
because like the content that you're gonna get and the camaraderie and like the planning of all this. Also, when you're doing team tandem and you lose, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Like
you still got to drive with your fucking
friends.
friends.
Exactly. And also like it's usually clear who wins because there's a lot of reasons to pick who did better than the other.
Yeah.
So like visually, like like I said, that whole thing is much better showcase of what drifting is to the normal person. It's also very easy to understand. You're like, that team did better than them because they did this and they did that. They didn't make a mistake. Like it's much harder. And then the fact that the cars match and there's some style involved and there's like a story behind it. Like, why are we not highlighting the story? Like why you guys are boys and how you guys drive and your practice. And why are we not interviewing you during the day? Like where it's like, oh, we're struggling like this. So I'm changing this about my car to match his car and this and that. And like, we realize that so-and-so is leading, but like they should really probably be 3rd or 4th. And like, so we're going to get our 2 runs and we're going to change the lead up this way so that at least one of our runs, we have odds of doing really well. Like there's so much strategy there that people would love to watch.
Yeah, I think so too.
And it's not highlighted enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, kart track championship to claim the kart track hero and team drifting.
I'd fucking do that.
Yeah.
I'd compete in a fucking kart track comp.
All over, you got to travel though. You got to go to all the different regions because you got to battle the other people that are killer in that region.
I'm gonna start buying some scratchers.
That's right, dude. That's right. But also, like, not to like dangle fruit. Like, if you did well, like
Yeah, you got a shot.
you got a shot. Or maybe there's some way to do it so that like if you compete in the team tandem, there's no entry fees for the competition. You know, like so that way everybody's winning. You know,
Yeah.
like we get more people for that. You know, there's always ways to make it work where it's like, but you just need a couple partners to like sign off on that.
Yeah.
And a couple tracks to like allow you to do that because kart tracks have been becoming a lot more stingy lately.
I've noticed. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like, that's tough.
Yeah,
It's
they're like, oh, we don't want drifting on our track. I'm like, you want to make money? Don't let drifting on your track. Yeah. Oh, well. But yeah, I think that's, again, another one of those bolt-on things that I would like to see and grow and be a part of, you know.
Yeah.
It sucks because if I plan all that, I probably can't drive it, but I could probably do like team tandem or like whatever.
You could drive it. Fuck
Yeah,
it.
I don't know if I can handle that mentally. I'm like on or off switch for that. If I'm driving, I'm driving.
Mm.
If I'm trying to build something, I'm trying to build something.
Yeah, I get that.
The two of them
I could-
together, I
could
start
not do
like,
both.
where is my purpose at life right now? You know, I want to drive, but I can't because I got to do this and that. And yeah, it just becomes a thing.
I get it.
So maybe I run one of them and drift the other one. We'll see.
I'm signing up. Let me know.
All right. Sounds good.
Let
us know in the comments what you think about the Kart Track Hero Championship.
I think everyone would want that.
I think so too.
I don't think there's anyone who would be like, that's a bad idea.
I know. Well, put in the comments and then I'll use the comments from this to like try to get people to give us some budget to do this.
Yeah.
I don't need to make any money doing it, but I can't just spend all my money on risking it.
Yeah.
It
Fucking
gets scary sometimes.
tag Chelsea, be like, fucking please do this.
Right.
Like, I'll
Right.
donate. Like,
Yeah. Or whatever. I don't really want to crowdfund it because I think I think there's enough love of drifting from big companies that we can make it work.
yeah.
So I think
Even better.
yeah, I think there's ways to do that because everybody wins when you're like a part of the first of this and you have the right people.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Can't wait.
I have to drive home now.
Yeah, you do.
I'm going to peace out.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me,
Dude, thank you for doing this.
No worries.
Fucking killed it.
Thank you for listening to the whole episode. If you like the guest, be sure to give him a follow on social media. The link's in the description. Send him a message. Tell him you appreciated the episode. They put a lot into these. If you want to support us, check out the links below. Follow us on social media. Hit the subscribe on YouTube, Spotify. You can check out goodestco.com for the latest merch drops. Hit up the Patreon. See what we got cooking on there. We appreciate you guys.